All right, so there's some weird shit going on right now. Uh dude, there's reports. So I live in Kansas, guys. I live right on the verge of Kansas and Missouri, kind of where I live. Well, I don't want to exactly say where I live because I don't want to get doxxed, but they're taking over the Kansas state capitol right now too. So um yeah, Kansas Capitol's kind of being taken over as well, and all that fun stuff. So, um, that's great. Let's see what you guys are up to. I figured I would just do a stream because I'm on the computer right now. I was doing some work. I actually was doing some, what is it? Sorry, scripting for this next video, and I just couldn't focus on it, and I figured if I wanted to do something somewhat productive and talk to you guys, I figured I would hang out with you all and see what you guys are doing. How's it going, Chiefy? Yeah, speak for yourself. I love coffee. I like that name. I was just drinking some coffee. I didn't plan on doing a stream today. I didn't plan on really doing much of anything, and then all this shit started unfolding. I'm gonna shit on Neo-Nazi Corpse. Names fitting. Poop. I missed the last one. Yeah, let's go check out. So this is happening. Oh shit! I think there's a dead person right there. Is that a dead person? Someone was screaming. Some woman. Oh god, bitrate. Some woman was killed already. Defund the police. I mean, no, I mean, as a policy prescription, yeah, I mean, the police is in a really bad state, but right now, obviously, like, we're looking at a point where, you know, it's still, like, I still think, like, defunding the police is probably the right approach. Obviously, you got to replace it with social programs to fix long-term crime, but right now, like, we're seeing a very lack of, like, it doesn't matter how much money you give to the police. This is their doing. I think the police are totally cool with what's going on right now. Mind you. A woman was shot. Yeah, a woman was shot in the neck too. Like, I think we have to understand that, like, people were being shot. I mean, I went to protest in the summer, and people were getting their legs blown off. What happened in KC, Kansas City, where I'm from, a man got his leg blown off by like a stun grenade, or like, sorry, he almost got his leg blown off. I think he may have lost it. And this was all happening, tear gas, rubber bullets, because the police killed an innocent man. And there was protests, and the protests were far less destructive than this. They're raiding the Capitol building, which I don't think has ever happened, ever. But obviously the police practically allow this just to kind of happen, which is really bad. And if you listen, you can hear a billion Chinese. I mean, sorry, I'm going to debate and respect other people. I love everyone. I am a centrist. I like the method, but the motivations are terrible. Yeah, this is pretty bad, man. I wanted, you know, I was just sort of thinking, I'm like, you know, there's a million other streams right now that people could watch, but I figured if you wanted to, for anyone who wants to at least experience this weird event with us, that would be cool. Oh my god, guys, look at this. Hassan, oh my god! Hassan has almost 200k people on his Twitch. Oh my god. I mean, like, I don't watch Twitch or streams very often, but good lord. Yeah, there's been numerous shots fired at this point, I'm pretty sure. Wow. Wow.
It's not. Some woman got. We don't know if she died or not. But this is what McCarthy said on Fox. Too late.
Here, it's just unclear what the situation is.
Wow, dude, what the fuck is going on?
Thank you so much, Grace.
What the fuck is going on? Another thing.
Do you condemn this violence?
I completely
ocean between us. Yeah, Kathleen, where are you from? Are you? I take it there's a lot of people here who are from Europe or they are European, and in that regard, be thankful,
dude. Oh, that's so crazy.
dude. 204,000 viewers. I mean, that's just insane.
Y'all did this shit, dude.
That's insanity.
Like, what do you mean? Like, how many?
I think, yeah, and it's like it's happening on state buildings. So I'll get out of my DMs. Let's see. They're pulling. Wait. Bull rushing the police. I mean, dude, imagine if these people were Black Lives Matter protesters. Like, imagine, absolutely imagine. So, Juan, there's pretty much a coup attempt in the United States right now. Yeah, it's Chiefy, it's Trump supporters. But I want, like, the severity of this is pretty bad. Like, this isn't just like protesting or rioting. This is a coup attempt for sure. Chiefy, they're doing this in my state as well. The Kansas courthouse. I want to look up more about what's going on. Last time I saw it, it wasn't terrible. I mean, it was bad. Kansas Capitol, because this is the state that I'm. Kansas. Okay. Photos, protesters. I don't know if it's as severe. I've heard that it's being surrounded. I heard Georgia is really bad right now. Okay, so this is much more peaceful in my home state, I suppose. Bombs were planted at the RNC and DNC? No way. No fucking way. Are you serious? Is this real? This was, I mean, this has been, oh, this is live. Well, she's gonna die. She got shot in the neck. Okay, so this is in Topeka. You know. Yeah, there'd be blood all, like Ethan Klein said, there'd be blood all over. Yeah, so they're literally being fascist. Yeah, 100%. I mean, 100%. Nancy Pelosi's office and putting his feet up. Yeah. Sounds about right. The Confederate flag has breached the Capitol, something it failed to do even within the Civil War. It's just, you know, I don't know what the result of this is going to be. Do I think that there is going to be a successful coup attempt? No, I don't. But this is pretty big. Yeah, the problem is too, guys. So the Department of Defense declined. They declined the National Guard. So the National Guard would have been called by now, but they declined to do so. And even more important, guys, when MLK was assassinated, they had machine guns. They had machine guns mounted on Capitol Hill, by the way. I think the Gravel Institute. They had a picture of it. So when MLK was shot and killed, they had fucking machine guns and they allowed these people to walk in. This is very much like, very, very much just planned. Like, like this is just Bitcoin soaring right now, guys, in the middle of a fucking coup attempt. Of course it is. I mean, it makes sense. I respect. Multiple officers has been injured in the mob violence at the Capitol. Okay, at least they're calling it mob violence because everyone's been calling them protesters at this point. Coup doesn't work like that. Wait, to your argument, Chiefy? What do you mean? What argument did Chiefy by trying to overthrow? That's kind of what, I mean, that's overthrowing democracy is definitely a big part of fascism. I mean, they should all be done for treason. Yeah, this is weird. I mean, dude, there's a lot of, you know, like I've been at the request. We were talking about Vosh yesterday. I don't know much about him. I've been watching some of his stream. It seems like a lot of people, this is just a really big unknown field for me. I'm kind of, I don't know what, I can't make concrete claims right now. Like, should this happen? This is so weird to me. Like, this is just unbelievably weird. If you support Trump, I beg you, unfollow me rapid. This is, No, peaceful protests, violence is unacceptable, must be condemned. Dude, like, this isn't peaceful protest. Dude, I love yesterday, who was it? I love this dude's Twitter account, Rob Rousseau. He was like, hate to see right-wing infighting like this. Let's see. You do not get to denounce this. Yeah, and let's see. Washington, D.C., Sacramento. So yeah, this is happening everywhere. It's happening at state capitals. I'm sure Olympia, Washington. Stop the steal. So is this like so this is actually a very organized thing too, right? I think when we see something like this, we imagine it being the left, when they do stuff, whenever there is oppositional like protest or whatever, I mean, this is very organized, guys. I think that we fail to like completely comprehend how fucking organized this really is. The fact that they're able to do this is pretty incredible, guys. I mean, like, this is exactly where, all right, we'll get into like more actual, like the larger theoretical terrain here. This is kind of the problem that I have with immediate revolution in the US, right? So a lot of, the very Marxist approach to take, and this isn't like an anti-Marxist, like I'm anything but anti-Marxist, but the immediate Marxist, especially Marxist-Leninist approaches is to do revolution. I mean, like, we're at a point where like it makes logical sense to do so, but in another vein, if there was an actual overthrow of the U.S. government, I'm really not terribly sure socialism would be the government in power, would be the new institution of government. It would be a fascist takeover, I'm almost positive, and I don't see that talked about enough. And so it is kind of scary when you see this. These are very organized groups of people, and it's equally scary, and it's like kind of remarkable at the same time, because the left does not have organization like this whatsoever. Nonetheless, the left as a whole, I don't think would do anything like this. I think this is weird, guys. I kind of am struggling. Usually I'm able to like talk about this shit in a lot more concrete sense, but this is just so weird. I don't even have words to kind of. So let's check out chat. Yeah, remember, guys, Antifa are the real terrorist. Not only fashion. Yeah, where's Tim Pool? Are silent on purpose. Remember the Turkish coup attempt? I remember that. That was a couple years ago. Agreed, our country is way too fascist for. That's exactly the thing. The organizational power that an actual new neo-fascist movement has is so much more than an actual, like, there is not, like, I don't think we don't understand. It's pure cope. I find a lot of Marxists, it's just it's Marxism as a prescriptive political idea right now is far too optimistic. I really do. Like, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, like, even the idea right now is far too optimistic. The reality that is described through a Marxist lens is really dismal, right? It's really, really dismal, right? It recognizes the core harsh reality, but it's not dismal enough, if you ask me. It's not at all. Like, I don't think most Marxists comprehend. There's a very positive approach to the future in a lot of ways under a Marxist sense, like a Marxist lens rather. And I think this is showing this right now. Like, we're in far bigger shambles than what I think even most the people within a traditional Marxist Leninist approach take. So the Christian right, how's it going, Krishna? The Christian right have been building into the structures of this country since the 1960s. Yeah, it's got to get worse before it can get better, unfortunately. I think so. I think that's true in some regards. Orthodox Marxism isn't elastic enough to take into account. I think that's exactly, Paul. Like, I think that's the thing, and I mean, and that's kind of what, before I got into theory, I actually was a little bit more of an Orthodox Marxist. And granted, my politics is still very deeply embedded in a sort of Marxist materialist tonality and goal. But I think, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead real quick. I'm gonna go to my face. I'm gonna do something real quick, my friends. I'm going to share this actually. Share. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. This is all right. Let's do this. Yeah, this is bad, guys. I think. Oh, sorry. Do the protesters have a leader or frontman? I don't know. You know, and we're talking about organization. I don't know if there's that level of organization, but nonetheless, this is very organized, man. Okay, National Guard change of mission approved. So, guys, the National Guard was declined. When they breached the actual Capitol inside, there was a decline. Like, they declined to bring in the National Guard. I saw someone bring up the argument that one of the reasons they may have done that is because the National Guard, guys, is under Trump's command. So let that sink in too, right? The only reason this is happening is because of, well, not the only reason, but one of the biggest reasons why this is happening is Donald Trump, right? He has said for months that the election is stolen. Like, that's just fucking mind-blowing shit. You know, and I actually don't think, I don't think actually a lot of people realize how actually, guys, the United States sucks in a lot of ways. One kind of lucky thing we have is our federal elections are really, really quite secure and democratic. Like really. Wait, Dayton 24/7? Is that in Ohio? Dude, what? So our elections, federal elections, are pretty secure and accurate. You can, traditionally speaking, and I learned a lot of this in some of my political science classes. I bitch about political science all the time, and it sucks as a field. But one thing I did learn is that actually, like, city elections and state elections actually are far less secure. There's historically it's been prone to more corruption and stuff like that. But federal elections are really quite secure. Primaries, party primaries, especially the DNC primary or Democratic primary, isn't very secure. We've seen that, like, exit polling margins are huge. But as far as federal elections go, they're pretty accurate. Like, we're kind of lucky in that regard, where our vote counts are pretty spot on. So yeah, the election was definitely not stolen. 2016, even Democrats were talking about Russia. That was cope. No, Donald Trump won the election in 2016. Joe Biden won the election in 2020, for sure. There's zero evidence to say otherwise. American liberalism is extremely strong. That's why I don't think a coup is possible. I don't know, man. No, I don't. I do get really annoyed by the tendency to just bitch about liberalism 24/7, because I think a lot of what the online sort of anti-liberal thing, it's just not very grounded in actual liberalism, like what they're critiquing. But I do think the liberal political project is dying. Like, I think, and this is just reason for it right now, or not reason, but evidence of it. Liberalism as we know it really is in trouble right now. And that's not necessary. Like, you know, like the traditional Marxist approach is like, good, let's do it. The accelerationist approach, that's good. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you fucking wish for here. Because you have two sides to a post-liberal society. You have fascism and you have socialism, right? Right now, what we're seeing is that fascism, as we know it, neo-fascism like this, is far more organized. It's far more organized. It's far more concrete. It's far more able to mobilize. Be careful what you wish for. And it's not to say liberalism is great. I mean, liberalism, again, it's a dying political project, and it's dying because of its immense failures in theory. Well, in theory and in practice, mainly in practice. In theory, liberalism's actually good, you know. But what you see is that, you know, there's a dialectic of Enlightenment thought. There's negative dialectics to this approach, and yeah, I think we're seeing that unfold right now. And yeah. I don't think liberalism's in a good state right now at all. This is not fascism. What are you talking about? Oh, this absolutely is a sort of new neo-fascist. Absolutely, 100%. I'm happy to discern between actual traditional academic approaches to fascism that we saw in the early 20th century, but this is absolutely a new form of like neo-fascism for sure. Fucking 100%, dude. There's people. Dude, I mean, you're having, and like the larger political movement as a whole is showing this, right? Where you have the approach to completely ditch democracy. That's the entire ethos of the new Republican Party right now, right? They're not going to adapt on policy like European conservative parties do. European conservative parties are able to actually stay in power because they will adapt with policy. They will support things like healthcare for everyone. They will support things like, in a larger context in the United States, education. They won't do that here. So what they revert to is trying to suppress actual democratic means of, you know, democratic institutions. They'll try to suppress those. And that's what we're seeing right now. Further, especially in like Western fascism, there's different forms of fascism. You see a white nationalist tonality. I mean, dude, this is exactly what it is. I mean, before Paul Ryan left Congress, guys, he passed. This was at the height of like the Trump administration anti sort of Latin American immigration like sort of debate. They passed like thousands of new Irish visas. Only for Irish people, though, right? No, this absolutely is a new white nationalist, neo-fascist, right-wing movement. 100%. 150%. Agrees liberalism is dying, the left, right, the Islam. Yeah, it's just, it is. And it's not, and we need to be honest with this, right? Like, especially, you know, we're a theory channel and stuff like that. Let's be honest about what's going on. That's not necessarily a good thing, right? There's a lot of the edgy fucking, destroy liberalism, destroy libtards, like own libtards. And it's like, I don't think you understand exactly, maybe. I don't know. I get your anger. I get the you know, liberalism as a political project, it has been failing for the longest time. And I think it has a lot of ups and downs. It's a roller coaster of sorts. And yeah, but it's dying. Absolutely. And so I think we do need to take a more material approach to politics. Oh God. Okay. What is going on here? I think Americans will forget about this pretty soon for the ideological. Yeah, I mean, there's a huge. I was wondering about that too. Is like, what's going to be the God, guys? We have 120, 130 people in here. This is really cool. Bad circumstances. I didn't expect to stream today, but I suppose it's cool to have you guys in here. It's easier. I was sitting on my computer just watching this, and like I would rather have some people to cope with, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. We might forget this really fast, guys. That's actually kind of scary. That's what the United States does. We forget shit really fast. And you know, I mean, there could be a couple reasons for that. We live in this very postmodern world where things are just. It's like we live in the most confused state I think that we ever have, and we live in a confused state because the sheer optimism and the positive nature of how we looked at the past too, right? I think as time goes on, we see the holes and stuff, and well, now we're in peak postmodernity, and now we're just confused as shit, and we forget about shit because it's just steals the podium. Good for him. To expel its own members by 2/3 vote. Freedom. I really don't think that's freedom, but okay. But that's okay. A split hyper reality. That's kind of what I'm thinking. It's just like, this is just well, it's like a lot of the world that we live in is spectacle, and actually people treat it as such, maybe in a sort of subconscious sense, but I think that's really what it is. Like we just, I think there's this, and we see this in politics where the eagerness to forget shit just works, right? We can just ignore shit. Like, you ignore something long enough, it'll go away. I think that's what we're realizing. Although I think we're seeing an inverse reaction that, like, well, if you ignore stuff for too long, this happens and stuff. But yeah, I think in the world that we live in, yeah, you ignore shit for long enough, well, it'll kind of go away until it comes back like this. But those people usually support fascism. I fought fascism. I thought incompatible with the U.S. because it needs to no, I think. Well, the people. Okay, so I thought fascism is incompatible with the U.S. because it needs totalitarian level of control, and that's difficult to enforce. So I would see from a European perspective that would make sense. No, but if you live here, like you see, guys, the people who are freedom, who support Second Amendment gun rights, and then the most large extent are often the people who would completely devolve under, be happy with a fascist administration, 100%, or a fascist regime rather, 100%. Not all. I mean, there's, centrists, there's liberals who own guns, leftists own guns, of course. I being fairly, being a left winger myself, I mean, I own a gun, but certainly the most enthusiastic gun owners are totally often completely happy with fascism. The idea of freedom in the U.S. is just a fucking joke. It doesn't mean anything. We are anti-fascist at 200%. The United States is anti-fascist? My ass, dude. Oh my lord. That is the most I don't know, that may not have been what you mean, but no, 100%. The one underbelly of the United States is this sort of fascist tonality. And guys, we have such an inverse way of looking at. All right, Joe Biden speaking. I gotta shut the fuck up. President's talking.
It's about solving problems, looking out for one another, not stoking the flames of hate.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
America's about honor.
Oh, God.
Decency, respect.
Oh, dude.
Tolerance.
Oh, this is bad.
That's who we are.
Oh.
We've always been.
Same new ideal. Oh, dude.
College vote is supposed to be a sacred ritual. To affirm the purpose is to affirm the majesty.
Oh, dude.
Of democracy.
He doesn't take this seriously at all. This is the pure fucking spectacle.
To preserve it requires people of goodwill, leaders.
Just absolute platitudes. Absolute platitudes. If he was fucking smart, he would say, look, what is going on here is fucking bad. What is going on here is a failure of the entire political apparatus as a whole. Now, instead, he's just trying to double down and try to. This is exactly what this is. It's just pure fucking cope. It's just.
Think what the rest of the world is looking.
No one cares.
2.5 centuries.
This is it's pure optics. It's just like the only concern about this from an actual institutional establishment perspective is just pure fucking optics. It's just weird idealisms. It's just. It shows just how insanely out of touch this is. Let's go back-to-back streams, Stelios. Yeah, and under bad circumstances, he plays in the Trump narrative. Yeah, it means nothing. And people see this. People like this they see it. They see it for what it is. It's just pure fucking spectacle. It's just fake. Oh my God. If he was serious about this, if this was serious, if you saw someone maybe like Sanders, he would be talking about, this is fucking terrible. This shows the sheer failure of the political system as a whole right now. Instead, Joe Biden's just doubling down. He's just doubling down on something that will bring us this tenfold. He's just doubling down on this. That's all this is. Oh, it's fucking terrible. I can't even listen to it.
In here too. That's who we are.
We need unity. That's what the United States is.
Democracy.
Oh, fuck.
Respect.
Oh, fuck me. Guys, I can't. This is just too cringe. It's too cringe. Oh, dude. FDR supported fascist Spain. Oh, yeah, like I've heard people say that this is spectacle. Can you explain? Well, I mean, this isn't clearly like what's going on. Like, like getting on, for all that this is, going. We can bullshit a lot, and we can call the right out for their bullshit on a lot of things. This right here is not spectacle. They're actually doing something here. They're invading the fucking Capitol. They stormed it. That's not spectacle. The sort of centrist liberal opposition though to this, it's pure spectacle. It's just, look guys, that's not who we are. He's not addressing the actual issues that cause this real thing to happen at all. And it just shows how fucking incompetent this is. Or like how incompetent Democrats are with this. They can't handle this. Like it's truly like the entire fucking institution of like, this is bad. Like this is really bad. The best thing Joe Biden could have said is Trump would have said this if this was left wingers. He would have been, this is terrible. They're terrorists. That's not what Joe Biden's not doing that. He's not. He's just doubling down on the bullshit fucking like, we need unity, like chaos. What's up with all the chaos, guys? What's up with all the, why are you guys being mean to each other? Man, why? Like, it's just, it means nothing. Oh, it's depressing, man. It's depressing. You wouldn't be seeing this if it was someone like Sanders in office. You wouldn't be seeing that. You would see a much more down to, it just,
as he departs the stage.
I wonder what
is enough. Joe Biden, who has at times during this period leading.
Why this is fascism? Well, I mean, there's a number of things, right? It's not fascism in the traditional sense of fascism, right? But it is a sort of new neo-fascism. It's at least the institutional approach to a decaying democracy, but in a sort of private lens, right? It's a merging of corporate, like, because this isn't like, you know, it's suppressing democratic means of governing. It has a white nationalist tonality to it, but it's certainly a more loose neo-fascism for sure. I'm happy to admit that, but I mean, you can call it fascism, call it what you want. It is what it is. It's so tired of Joe Biden. He's not even in office. Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't think this is dude. I'll give them credit. This is not performative fascism at all. I think if we consider this performative fascism, I think we're severely underestimating. They stormed the Capitol, and further, Trump and the government as a whole was actually kind of okay with it, right? Like they were actually.
Bro, this is like, I feel like they're trying to manufacture consent right before our eyes.
Yeah.
By creating like this false reality, as though like, you know, there's some extremists that are just interested in violence, and that this is not indicative of like any sort of long-standing
systemic issues,
Republican racial agitation.
Yeah, it's like that's exactly what Joe Biden was doing. He was just saying like, guys, no, look, like this isn't America, this isn't us. We're just, you know, like it's just been hard right now. You know, we're in the middle of a pandemic and stuff. This isn't us. What the fuck? No, the exact problem is that this is us. This is the United States. It's been the fucking complete fiber of the United States. The entire, like, I don't think we understand how, like, even the American Revolution was the most ruling class revolution you could ever think of. It was a revolution spearheaded by slavers. And that sounds like, you know, you might hear that in academia and certain people, and it sounds like sort of just like some, like, oh, you know, it sounds like, you know, but that's not an exaggeration. That's completely real. And the most accurate way to define the American Revolution was a complete ruling class slaveholder revolution. That's exactly what it was. And our entire political project since then has been that. It has been that. I would argue that in the early 1900s, you saw a lot of labor movements go forward. And I would say under FDR, that was sort of reeled in a little bit. But the United States has primarily been a fairly authoritarian country in a lot of ways. So it's yeah. They don't actually know what to do now. They have control of the Capitol. There's no, well, I mean, perhaps, maybe so. But I think that to call it I think to over like as what's going on as a whole purely performative would probably be underestimating it a little bit. But yeah, maybe there's definitely a performative tonality to it for sure. Absolutely.
They both won the
Yeah, we don't need to label it the question.
Breaking numbers, and they also won the Electoral College vote.
As a Russian, I can say that it looks like 1905. I don't know. I don't think. But this is an attempted coup for sure. I think that it will succeed? Probably not. But that's definitely what this is for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, Farrell, most people can't define fascism. Yeah, I think most people probably can't. I mean, fascism is sort of a complex thing, right? It's the same way as like a lot of people don't actually understand Marxism. Like even Marxists don't even a lot of Marxists who identify as Marxists don't even completely understand it. And it's partially to do because Marxism, the analytical form of Marxism and you know, the descriptive nature of Marxism is sort of complex. It really is. Like it like, let's be honest. That's one of the things in my opinion that kind of doesn't, I mean, part of the reason it's why it's good, right? Marxism is a very analytical, it's a very concrete thing, but at the same time, it is complex because of that. And a lot of people don't understand it. Fascism in a weird way sort of falls under that a little bit. Although fascism, I would consider far more mystical and like just pure bullshit. Yeah. Fascism has already been a loosely defined term, especially in the way that most people use it. Yeah, like people like, dude, even right wingers will consider, like right wingers who very much are embedded within a neo-fascist movement will call the left fascist. Like that's what, like there's just this loose use of what fascism really is, for sure, absolutely. Hey, regards from Latin America. Thank you. I mean, historically speaking, Latin America has had its problems with this, primarily thanks to the United States as well. We like to orchestrate some good old-fashioned Latin American chaos, but we're kind of experiencing our own little woes right now. But how fitting would it be if Trump treated these people to a buffet of McDonald's hamburgers? That would be kind of funny. I'll be real. I will not be told that there is no Zanzi. Yeah, absolutely. No, and this is I mean, this is 100% correct. I will not be told that there is no difference between Democrats and Republicans. Absolutely. I get fed up with that all the fucking time. Truly, some of the most brain dead analysis that you can find on the left is that like, oh, neoliberals and fascists, same fucking thing. Absolutely the fuck not. Absolutely not. Neoliberalism is not good. Liberal conservatism is not good. It's shit. It sucks. It's terrible. It is not fascism, though. It is absolutely not. Under any context. And if we're not specific about that, that's not good. Like, I think people underestimate the use, or people underestimate the actual kind of damage that you can do by being extremely loose with your analysis, right? So something that we see today is like, oh, we just lump right-wingers in together. No, we should not do that. We should not do that at all. You can severely underestimate certain groups and in some ways overestimate others. And it's like this really weird sort of, you know, like postmodern, like, oh, they're just all fucking, you know, all fascist. Fuck off. Fuck off with that. Please fuck off with that. Like, that is unbelievably stupid. And it, America has a long history of a fascist culture. Absolutely. No, guys, a lot of fascist academics in the early 20th century were Americans. Like, fascism was an academic thing in the early 20th century. People don't realize this. Like, people don't understand the actual history of fascism, primarily because it would be really fucking bad if they did. Because if they did understand the actual core history of fascism, you realize that fascism was very much developed in the United States. The United States in the early 20th century is a very eugenics, like the United States spearheaded a lot of like the core tenets of what we see in fascism, what makes up fascist ideology. That's exactly like the underbelly of the United States is purely fascist, like 150%. the core ideological underbelly behind our surface facade of liberalism is fascism, 150%. I don't think we understand that there's a duality to what's going on where we have a very liberal face to everything, but that's actually not the fucking case. It never has been, guys. It never has been. We had the South secede from the Union because the Union wanted to stop slavery. That's the most unliberal thing ever. The Civil War, the Confederacy lacked a coherent fascist ideology per se, but to say that the core logic of the United States is like liberal, fuck no, it's not. Absolutely not. Yeah, Mussolini all fascists pretty much emphasize like this really weird, stupid fucking mysticism. It's dumb as fuck. It's actually kind of funny, actually. I'm right wing and hate fascism. I know what they did to our country. Well, I mean, and if you're from Europe, right wing means a lot different here. Like, I don't know. That could mean a lot of different things. Defining fascism is less relevant to those who aren't studying it historically. Perhaps, yeah, because the theory is kind of BS and ad hoc stuff to justify ways. Sure, perhaps, yeah. Well, I would push back with that to say like there is a core. I mean, there really is a core ideology with fascism. Like it's a real prescriptive political ideology. It isn't just these weird mystical things that justify totalitarianism at all. I think there's a complete coherent ideology behind that. To liberate the state from all class interests by establishing to foster national. Yeah, that's in a lot of ways. Yeah, that's a good way to define it.
Like the 3M bulletproof glass top like anti-rocket door.
Like Rust.
Rust.
I think it's because this stuff doesn't normally happen, and they're not expecting it to happen, and that's why they don't have like any sort of additional protective measures in the halls of Congress, because what police do is create a presence of law and order. Okay, cops aren't literally stopping crimes. Cops aren't
yeah, fascism is very capitalist, though.
Like preventing crime.
No, there is.
I guess happening.
It's
their presence is supposed to make.
It's capitalism in a like sort of a post-liberal lens, for sure.
That's part of the reason why you don't need to like fucking literally create the most reinforced like fucking pipe bomb defenses.
Wait, did someone say there was bombs planted though? That wouldn't surprise me at all. Common sense conservative. A lot of common sense going on right now, man.
Location, as you've been reporting for the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi.
All right, let's see if there's anything else going on. Okay. Let's see. Urges peace.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but we've just gotten a new tweet from the president.
New tweet from the president. Okay. Is there no live streams going on here?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Let's see. Any live streams? What's Hassan watching?
The fucking stand that people use the gavel on and shit. And they did.
And
someone was shot too. By the
way, is this XQC?
Is this opinion again?
That's XQC, guys. Fuck. I don't know if you guys know who XQC is. I actually don't even watch a lot of streams, but I just Tyler 1 playing fucking League of Legends. That's cool. All right.
This fire, the media as the one.
On the left, capitalism is the source of all evil, so fascism is thrown into a bag with it. Well, I think that's precisely where it's kind of you get into a stupid fucking you can get in. I think it is really stupid to point because Marx didn't even like. I think the most true like viewpoint that you can take with this is that, or the most accurate is that no, like capitalism isn't something that's like, or liberalism also is not something that's purely bad, right? Like I think when you look at something that's really black and white, you minimize what's going on, and yeah, capitalism isn't just some fucking huge evil entity. Liberalism is not some huge evil entity whatsoever either, and it must be destroyed at quote unquote all means necessary. Although that's sort of a later Marxist dialectic movement, going forward. But no, like it's sort of a somewhat complex thing with a lot of different faces and you know, facets. Okay, so on a historic day, huh? Yeah, that's probably. I look into Jesus Christ. This is exactly what Jesus would do, guys. This is exactly what he would do. He would go try to fucking.
Also visit freedomscoop.com. Actually, you guys broke the site, so maybe you can't, but subscribe to my channel.
That's exactly what. Is that him talking or is that? What is woke? What is this? Okay.
That shit hurts. How many of you guys have been bear maced before?
Yeah, it's well, that's exactly how capitalism is just so good at reinforcing itself. Like, absolutely strange to see financially poor people defend capitalism in in form of new ideology. Absolutely, it's.
Are open all day, no matter what happens there.
It's almost as if where you we can talk about small businesses being destroyed, but they're being destroyed because of the very fucking politics that you defend, you dipshit. Fucking moron. Small businesses are being destroyed and Costco and Walmart are open. That's the fucking point. What do you think the left has been saying for the past fucking 10 to 15 years? It's just pure corporatism, you fucking moron. Like, what the fuck is this? Huge stream aggregator. I was glued to it during Black Lives Matter. Gotcha. Costco and Walmart. Ironically left wing. Accidental left wing. I agree. Liberalism is not free from capital. Yeah. Poor people in America see themselves as temporarily. Yeah, 150%. That's just the ethos of this fucking.
These feelings are your inner warrior. They're your patriot.
Oh yeah. Talk about fascist mysticism right here, guys.
You are the hero of your own movie.
Yeah.
I want you to think about that. And we have to start acting like it. We have to choose freedom and live our lives free. We'll sit back and it will slowly cook us until it's gone.
Oh, this is so good. Oh, it's so good. You are the hero in your own movie. Oh my God. This is embarrassing.
We need to win this war. Everything. And we fight by following our hearts and our minds, not some bullshit narrative fed by social media or the news.
That's exactly what your heart follows, though, you dip. Okay. It's not even worth fucking.
Do not accept it. Get involved. It is lonely out front, but the view is beautiful.
Hey guys, neo-fascist mysticism on full display.
Get involved in politics. Get involved with your neighbors. Get involved with small business. Get involved with friends.
Get involved with small business while simultaneously advocating for the very politics that destroys small business in a corporatocracy like we live in. Very smart.
I love you all. God bless.
I don't think you do, but okay. Get ready to retaliate against these people. Yeah, that's a really hard. That's a hard question. Yeah, literally, quite honestly, organize. There's different activist organizations. In the same vein, fucking get politically involved, right? But I think a lot of that, the left doesn't have to worry about that. The left is the very few who is actually fairly organized in some weird ways. We have a lot of splinters, and that's sort of a problem, I think, is that there's a very huge, diverse set of ideas within left-wing organizations, and they clash a lot. But the main problem is I think just like core centrist liberalism, like as we know it. It's the sort of lack of care, because that's exactly what it is. I mean, like, part of the reason we are in this problem is precisely because of people who, like, in a primary supported someone like Joe Biden over Bernie Sanders. Like, it's the ethos of what is just totally wrong with liberalism as a whole. These people don't fall under that at all. They're anything but apathetic, right? But we have a whole population of people that are wildly apathetic or just completely fucking blind to any semblance of reality, right? No, Andres, no, the left is organized. It is. There's all kinds of left-wing organizations. They're just radically different from each other in a lot of different ways. Let's assume we don't agree. What the fuck did I just said that. We should value. I just said that. I literally said, I was like, no, we are the left, as opposed to like sort of the quintessential liberal approach to politics, are very much organized, far more organized. There's a lot of different small subsets of organizations. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we are organized. That's a good point. That's actually really good language. Is that we are organized, but we're not very unified in a lot of ways. Right here, this is, and maybe in opposite sense, we can argue, what's going on here? We can argue that maybe perhaps this is not organized per se, but it sure as fuck is unified. I think that's a good way to put it too, because the right does not have, like, and this is true, a lot of liberal conservatives are very, like, they're apathetic to something like this. They see this and they're, they're like, well, I don't know if I would do this, or I don't know if I would do it this way. But they're okay with it. While on the left, people who quite honestly disagree with what's going on in other leftist organizations, it's not a matter of just apathetically just going about like, oh, I don't disagree. Like, I don't agree. I wouldn't do it that way. No, a lot of people on the left, they bicker and they fight. They have very strong feelings. Sort of the quintessential like liberal conservative American approach to this is very much they're okay with this at the end of the day. They may not like it. It may be kind of mean on the surface, right? The aesthetic of this it's not favorable, but they're okay with it. The left is feral. That's precisely the left is far more diverse, which is hilarious because like the 2017 like we want diversity of opinions. No, well, if anything, diversity of opinions only really kind of exists on the left. And in some ways, it kind of hurts organization sometimes. And it hurts unity at times, which is actually, clearly it's something to be embraced in a lot of ways, but it does have some political consequence, I would say. I don't think it's a stupid thing it's not a stupid lib thing to say that we want left unity. I think there probably should be a lot more unity than what we're seeing right now. But it is to say also that, there is differences and that it is good. The right is 100% more okay with tolerating difference. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not even close. Not even close whatsoever. Okay. I want to hear more about what's going on. What's going on in
why we have the technological achievements that we do. If it wasn't for,
I want to see what's going on in the fucking I want to see what's going on in the actual Capitol. All right. Plastic pills. He's a threat. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Zonzi, I don't know if you guys follow him. He's a small little streamer himself, but yeah, he's been this guy's been he's tweeting some fire, man. What can I say? Statehood for DC now, absolutely. I mean that as well. Okay, let's see what.
I know your pain. I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us.
Oh, he's doubling down, guys. Plastic Pills is a wonderful channel. He's one of my favorites.
The other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to
He's just saying the opposite. Like, they're just taking the opposite from this. The election was stolen from us.
Respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it away from all of us. From me, from you, from our country.
Don't do anything, but they stole it. Don't do anything. Don't be violent, but they stole it.
Into the hands of these people.
He's dog whistling to keep doing what you're doing.
So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others.
Look, he's saying do the no. This is the thing, dude. The right will 100% like we see what he's doing. They'll be behind him with this. They're like, look, he gets what we're doing. He was like, he has to say this though. He has to say this, and he does. He's like, but he actually wants us to stay, which is exactly actually what he's doing. They're right. This interpretation from the right they'll get from this is absolutely correct. Oh, dude, like Donald Trump needs to be prosecuted. Oh my God. Like this is bad, dude. Like this is fucking bad. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and leave this on for you guys. I got to go fucking piss. I got to piss real quick. Be right back.
That's why we're here. It's not our house. That's why we're here. That's why we're here.
All right. Let's go. We're gonna be peaceful about it. My ass. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Oh, wait. He said go home. Let's go on home. Okay. That's interesting. So, are they going home now? He said go home. Let's go home. Well, some woman got shot in the neck. Pick the wrong week to quit sniffing glue. I hope she's not serious with this. I am drawing up articles of impeachment. Donald J. Trump should be impeached by the House of Reps. And dude, yes. I mean, this isn't like if this does not happen, guys. It's not going to happen. I don't think they'll do it. I really don't think they'll do it. But it absolutely needs to happen. I don't think anyone will ever say some political TV show is unrealistic anymore because that could never happen in real life. That absolutely should be the case. I don't think we should. No, we shouldn't leave. I mean, a lot of crazy shit can happen really quick, as we're seeing today. Is guilty of treason, I mean, it's just absolute. All of these people, yes, absolutely, and it's not some like, you know, it's not some like baseless thing to say that. It's not to say that like. You know, there is some people make the argument that like, oh, it doesn't matter if they broke the law. The country would be in a much better state. It would be in a much better state if these people were gone, Republican senators, and that way they're probably correct. But no, there's absolutely like complete ground here for just purging the fuck out of the Republican Party with this. Like, guys, if this would have happened 50 to 60 years ago, the Republican Party would be done for. They'd be done. They'd be done. Absolutely done. There would be prosecutions everywhere. Ted Cruz would be prosecuted. Trump would be in prison right now. 150%. 100%. But that won't happen today. That won't happen whatsoever. What the fuck is this? We don't know who shot who. Watcher somehow, let's say it's a female officer that was shot. No, I saw a video of a woman. She got shot in the neck, and I think she's dead. It was pretty bad, actually. I'm not going to show it on stream. But yeah, I saw that. That actually happened. Wait, this morning at the rally, Giuliani called for trial by combat. What? Shit, sorry. I have a habit of doing that. the more offense from the other side. I mean, not necessarily though. I mean, yeah, maybe in the short term, but still, should we fucking worry about the retaliation? That's precisely the problem though, man. Segrel, that's exactly what Democrats do. They're like, okay, but if we actually take action and we do what we're supposed to do, how is the right going to react? Fuck the right. Absolutely fuck them. Absolute fucking, it's brain dead politics to completely worry about what they're going to do. You know, how in the most reverse sense, that's just fucking terrible. You guys need your brain checked. I don't know who the fuck you're talking about. The more they purge them, the more offense from the Bitcoin touch new high. Well, yeah. Blue Anon Putin didn't want sanction relief. He wanted this. Yeah, I mean, that is absolute QAnon for fucking liberals. Age of perfection. If Donald Trump were to lose, he won't. His supporters will go to work tomorrow just as they do every day when Biden loses. His supporters. Well, oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. Fine wine right there, guys. We are in the saddest part of all of this is how far away. Yeah, and isn't that the funny thing about this, guys? I mean, he's right about this. That the actual thing that would heal the country is not this fucking bullshit idealism that that Biden's talking about, right? This fucking sheer bullshit corporatism just masked in this new liberal, like, progressive facade. It's absolutely fake. And conservatives are able to siphon through that better than a lot of people on the left, actually. Like, I think that there's even a lot of people who not only are just, they're not centrist, they're actually they're fairly far left, but they actually have trouble discerning between this bullshit fucking parroting of just pure idealism. But the only thing that'll actually work is actual real material changes to people's lives. That's it. The actual ironic healing here is not the fucking... The way you heal is actually not conceding to Republicans and trying to meet them in the middle. It's the opposite. It's fucking obliterating them as a political entity. It's obliterating them in the sense that you actually do good politics. You change the material content of people's lives. You put in a universal healthcare system. You fucking make education completely free. You cancel student loan debt. You actually get this fucking country under control when it comes to COVID. All of these things. Reinvest in infrastructure. That's actually how you heal this fucking country. It's fucking mind-blowing, dude. Mind-blowing shit. Absolute. The words of presidents matter. This is the fuck. Oh my God.
Under unprecedented assault. Unlike anything we've seen in modern times. An assault on the citadel of liberty.
This is my first YouTube live chat. Pretty cool. Yeah, YouTube streaming's all right.
On the people's representatives.
The people's representatives. That's precisely the issue, and this is where they're right. They're not our representatives, and they know it. They know it. You dipshits.
Capitol Hill Police.
Instead, the best thing he could say is like, guys, we fucked up. Target? What's going on here? Versus Target security. The best thing Joe Biden could do here is say we absolutely fucked up. This is showing the
Under unprecedented assault.
Yeah, it is.
Unlike anything we've seen in modern times. An assault on the citadel of liberty, the Capitol itself. An assault on the people's representatives and the Capitol Hill Police, sworn to protect them.
Oh, the good old days. Yeah.
Servants who work at the heart of our republic. An assault on the rule of law like few times we've ever seen it. An assault on the most sacred of American undertakings.
You on YouTube now? Yes, I am on. I used to stream on Twitch. I am done with Twitch. Twitch absolutely blows in every way. I think a lot of people are moving over to YouTube, actually. Quite a few people. I think Twitch will be in serious trouble in a couple of years. Their streaming platform, their bitrate cap is terrible. There's no transcoding for people under partners. Yeah, it's bad.
ACAF.
Cops are... Wait, hold up. Oh, dude. Cops are taking selfies with terrorists. Oh my God. Yeah. That's... I mean, this is just this is exactly, I mean, this is why this happened. Cops are totally cool with it. Like, It was something like polls have done or there's been studies. I think like 80% of police that have been polled are like Trump supporters. It's like 80%, guys. That's insane. Biden Democrats are also responsible here. Absolutely. Ideologically, at least, they haven't fight. Absolutely, they don't fight. It's the exact opposite. It's concession after concession after concession. This is a fascist coup attempt, 100%. It's exactly what this is. And Biden and shit are just going to double down. Should resign immediately. Okay, this is actually okay. I hate this. I fucking hate this. Stop saying that they should fucking resign. How baseless is that? How absolutely void of meaning and fucking purpose and actual, like, what? This doesn't mean shit. They should resign. What the fuck? They're not going to resign, you dipshit. That's the point. They should have resigned a long time ago. We get it. Oh my Lord. Shows that how insanely incompetent. I get very angry at I get really annoyed at sometimes at the lack of like an actual analytical approach to viewing shit on the left. So a lot of leftists lump a lot of things together in the same thing where they shouldn't, right? Where like neoliberalism is the same as fascism. It absolutely isn't. I get really annoyed, but holy fuck, man, when you just see shit like this, it's infuriating. It's insulting. This is the most insulting thing I think you could say right now. Senators Ted Cruz and Hawley should immediately resign. Fuck off. Absolutely fuck off. Do something about it. Should we hold Bernie at gun? What the fuck? No. This isn't Bernie. This is, I mean, like, this situation would probably be a lot worse if it wasn't for Bernie Sanders. Where's the stream of the guy giving the speech? Capital makes extreme reaction formation narcissism possible. It's cute. It's not the same, but it's sort of a... When I joined the military, Jesse Ventura, I took a note. These are domestic enemies. They are. Having to wear masks because they feel, yeah. Okay, I think we're going back down to, all right, this is where we were before. Listen, scrolling through Twitter at this time is actually fun. Every other time, it's just actual cancer. It's just terrible.
Squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go.
Let them walk in. That.
And they just breached the Capitol again.
Yeah. Look, they're like, come on in.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go.
Uh-oh, he once takes backsies on treason. That's not even takes backsies. I mean, like, this dude was straight up just, he was saying, don't do it, but do it. Which is secretly really Donald Trump's just like, no, keep doing what you're doing. That's exactly, it's what he wants. And they know, and right-wingers know, they know this. Bourgeoisie democracy, the democracy of and for the rich is failing to resolve their conflicts. True. The left needs to make real demands. True. For real change led by the proletariat. Yeah, but the proletariat is nowhere near. We're not the proletariat is anywhere near, but recognizing but a state of recognizing that the proletariat. That's like the first fucking thing that needs to happen. Without this, the moribund collapse into a nightmare will any intensify quickly. Yeah, probably. This is probably the. Okay. Wait. Democratic Party wins control of the U.S. Senate. Well, yeah. Special Agent Dale Cooper, how's it going, friend? There's a contingent of idiots at the Utah State Capitol. Yeah, every state capitol there is. Kansas, it's there. My state. Just in Germany. Wait. Germany's foreign minister says the enemies of democracy will be delighted by images of Washington, D.C. I don't know who the fuck they mean by enemies of democracy. Yeah. Didn't fail today. It operated absolutely. This is definitely take number one. Law enforcement didn't fail today. It operated exactly as it was institutionally intended, 150%. I mean, that's exactly where, you know, some people said, this is why we don't need to defund the police. We don't need to just defund the police. I mean, that's a terrible idea, just to defund the police. But yeah, no, defund the police and put those funds into some long-term actual like things that could actually curtail crime, you know? I think we've talked a little bit about how on stream. I don't know about you guys. I think or maybe not all you guys in here, but we've talked a little bit on stream about how the sort of political. I think the slogan "defund the police" is probably not very sufficient in any way. It's kind of probably harmful, and I know that's a very dumb lib thing to say, but I think we need to be a little bit more specific with how we go about that. Defund the, like, you can't, but I also understand you can't just say defund the police and fund social programs. Like, it's just a little bit harder to say, but you know, that's ultimately what they mean by that. But the slogan just kind of doesn't do itself justice. The majority of rural working class in the United States is polluted with Southern conservative culture, 100%. And I think there's something to say even more about that it's actually the Southern sort of culture. It spans far north. All rural America in a lot of ways has this sort of Southern tonality to it and how they approach things, for sure. This is what it comes to. Oh, he shoot? Yeah. Well, yeah, they're fucking shooting people, I guess. Yeah. Trump's coup was predicted 4 years ago. Well, yeah. Yeah, it far more abolish the police. Yeah, I think so. I just think and I think that's where we get to the point where, like, yeah, the left probably needs better slogans. A lot of left-wing politics, as we know it, still actually fails, right? So a lot of people are very quick to, and rightfully so, completely show the failings of liberal politics and centrist like politics, but the left is very much incompetent in that regard as well. I don't think they're our politics isn't. It's not to say, like, progressive left-wing politics is far better than centrist politics, don't mind you, but I think there's still shit that we should do. And people get mad at that. Whenever you say that, there's leftists that will get very mad when you say shit like that. Like, it's like this, like, oh, you like, I don't know. It's really weird. I think there should be critique at just about every corner because we definitely need it. Like, for sure. I think it's pure cope to say otherwise, but that's okay. Sees the memes of production in some ways. Okay. Let's see what Hassan.
See if it's like it's the curfew. It's bullshit.
221,000 viewers, guys.
Actually legitimate or not? Because it's crazy that there's like a video of cops literally opening up the gates. It could have been a way to, like, kettle and corral potentially. I don't know what's going on.
I want all my police files.
A little insane.
Medicare for y'all. I don't, dude. Ironically, that would probably work in some ways.
The fucking gates there.
Yeah, I think the problem is so I mean, we can go into detail about, you know, where the sort of political messaging of the left fails. The political messaging of the left fails a lot of in the same context where liberal messaging and centrist messaging fails, right? It's not something that is just like specific to the left per se, but it's exactly where a lot of leftists still have this snarky technocratic approach to things, right? We don't understand. I've thought a lot about this, actually. We don't understand. Rural people are the real sentimentalist, right? They're people that they're far more sentimental than what we give them value, and they're far more skeptical, guys. That's why in a lot of ways, conspiracy theories are rural Americans are kind of susceptible to that. They're not dumb fuck toe the line people, and in an ironic way, in some ways, they are. You know, they will follow conspiratorial thought when it's done under an authority figure like Trump or something like that. But in another vein, they are skeptical people. They are sentimentalist. They are, in a lot of ways, more human than us in some ways, and we don't actually respect that whatsoever. Instead, what we do is we come across as some very urban, technocratic people who, and here's another thing, there's some data to back this up too. This isn't just some base fucking, like, you know, this isn't just some people just saying shit. Like, you know, it's not me just saying shit. No, there's evidence to support the one thing that Republicans don't want to associate as a Democrat from because they lack common sense. Let that sink in. Let that sink in what that means. Democrats lack this essence of common sense. We should take that really fucking seriously. Take that very, very seriously. We come across as these wonky technocratic people who cannot communicate to rural Americans very well about anything. And they're the ones that suffer more. Yet we have this weird, there's this, and this goes into more about the Zizekian, like, liberal guilt thing that we have. It's like, we simultaneously have this, like, liberal guilt complex, and then we have this, like, oppression complex, because most people are, you know what I mean? Like, in the United States, workers are oppressed everywhere. But then you see people who live in rural areas, and they understand their material conditions. They get it. They get it. And they see that, and they even kind of, I think, get a little bit confused by that. They're like, okay, but also too, like, you know, we're struggling as well, but you don't give a fuck about that. You mock us and stuff like that, because they do. And the left, in the same vein, sort of does that. They're better about it. They're far more better. They care far more about the material conditions of rural Americans, but we need rural Americans if we're going to do anything. Liberals, centrists, the typical centrist approach is actually, in a lot of ways, that rural Americans are our fucking enemies. They double down on that, right? They completely, like, the urbanites, like the urban sort of, like, liberal facade, they actually double down on that. While on the other hand, I don't think leftists really do, but they still kind of fail to, I think, truly kind of combat that snarkiness, right? Yeah, it's really easy to get into it. That's the thing. A lot of leftists, guys, a big problem with some, like, Western Marxism is that it's just circle jerking. It's all it is. It's just circle jerking. There's no outreach, because within this sort of ideological tonality, there's this, like, antagonism towards other people. They're class traitors, or they just serve the bourgeoisie or whatever. It's like, and in some veins, obviously, not all people or Marxists would think this whatsoever. It's actually the opposite in a lot of ways. A lot of Marxists probably truly see rural people as being very exploited. But in another vein, it's like there's this intense antagonism to outreach, right? And that's, the left has this really, really weird sort of approach to, we can't just simply, you need these people. You need liberals on your side. You need, you need rural Americans on your side. So I think we'd be smart to do something about that, honestly, but I don't think we will, and we're not on track to doing so. It's just that the rural right kind of get it, but won't look past it. Sure, absolutely, 100%. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. American propaganda is the most powerful propaganda the world's ever seen.
The woman that got shot, I clearly can't fucking watch that.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, look at Mike Pence's Twitter header. It's not... Oh, anyway.
Hey, guys, wait.
As I always do at the top of every hour, and do a 10-minute fucking stretch and stretch my legs out, but I'm going to run a 1-minute ad at the top of the hour every hour, as I do.
Let's check. Hey, guys, let's check what Destiny's saying, huh? I'm only curious to see what's going to come out of... let's see what he has to say. Prepare yourselves. I don't know. I doubt he's defending them or anything. I just don't know. Destiny has some interesting takes sometimes. I ain't fucking afraid of you, bitch. Are they fighting?
Oh, that guy got fucking baited.
The enlightened liberal take, yeah, I think that's probably what. Guys, I actually, so here, we'll go back to what, oh, fuck ads. We'll go back to this. So I actually have this, with Destiny, obviously he says some horrifically dumb shit. I actually think with Destiny, though, he's talked about this a little bit. I've seen him talk about this. There's something oh no, Destiny. No. Mind you, I get it. But I think with Destiny, in a lot of ways, Destiny has been right on a lot of the bullshit that you see with a lot of left-wingers and just the pure fucking stupidity. And I think Destiny just really he just took the bait and just went, you know, he is like, all right, I can't deal with this shit. This is just stupid. I'm just fuck them all. But I take that's what kind of Destiny probably did. And he went, you know, I don't know. But I think the guys, I think that, and it's sometimes hard to explain to, well, no, it's not necessarily. I talk about it a lot, but when you start to like, okay, so I'm a relatively small channel. Like I'm really small, but you know, like my social media presence has grown a little bit and stuff like that. And I'll sometimes get some shit. I've gotten more shit from people, and you do understand really quick when you're like a content creator how actually fucking stupid some of the shit that you see on the left is. Like, especially like we're a theory channel, and so like you get into like the deeper logic and ideas about stuff. All right, so like we've done videos on Marxism and shit like that, and you know, like I am a Marxist in my politics in almost every way, but in a lot of ways there's like this, I don't know, it's this like alienating thing, right, to be on the left sometimes, because it's just radically aesthetic. It's a radically aesthetic thing where like people will like gatekeep Marxism, right? They're like, oh, so and so is not a real Marxist or shit, and then like, guys, you go down the tweets. I on Twitter, this happened to me the other day. You'll go down their tweets and they talk about not being able to read theory because they can't focus. Let that sink in. These people will fucking gatekeep Marxism. They'll try to they treat Marxism as some really surface aesthetic thing to like sort of mask their undying misery in this life. And I get it. I mean, the world's harsh, right? Ideological cope is easy to cling on to, and Marxism can possibly be that medium. But it's really hard when you like actually contend with a theory how wrong people's approaches, even within the left-wing sphere of Marxism, is, and how, yeah. I don't know. And so I think in a lot of ways, like, I think Destiny was probably, because Destiny used to be a lot more left wing, if I remember right? Destiny used to be like far more left than what he is now. And I think that he just got fed up with the online shit and just he probably just, I don't know. I get that's sort of my guess, but I don't know. Are you describing Vosh? I don't think so. No, I'm describing Destiny, I think. I feel using words like Marxism, socialism, capitalism. Yeah, it's just that there's not a lot of meaning in a lot of the online discourse around these things, right? It's void of a lot of substance, and it sucks, because what it really sucks is it can create this new nihilism thing where like, guys, it kind of stresses me out sometimes. I'll be real. And it stresses me out because I actually really care. It sounds corny or cringe, but I actually really do care a lot about the trajectory of any left-wing movement in this country, of Marxism. I care about these things a lot. I think Marxism has a material political approach, has a lot to offer. I think a lot of later theory, a lot of these things are critical theory, are very valuable things, and it gets siphoned away out of this like weird ideological tonality in this ideological gatekeeping by people online who've actually never read anything. They never have. They'll admit it. Like I truly, I don't want to pick on this random Twitter account because it just killed me. Yesterday this girl was saying like, she was like, oh, rural people are easier to radicalize than Vosh. I'm like, so you're just like, the people say like, oh, like these people aren't real socialist or anything like that. I don't know. Vosh seems socialist enough to me. I don't know. Maybe he said stupid shit. I don't really know. I don't pay that much attention to it. But it's just this fucking gatekeeping, like this aesthetic, this Marxist aesthetic that sort of this jouissance, as Lacan may say it, about being a part of a group. It sucks. It sucks really bad. It lacks specifics. It's just void of any fucking meaning. And it's almost nihilistic in a lot of ways, right? It actually is this like weird inverse nihilism. Yeah. I see what the left is that they have mastered the university. Yeah, well, yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah. It's just I don't think people understand. Like, this is where guys, this is where contemporary theory is actually really important, right? So, I get, Chomsky, I think, kind of championed this, that theories, fuck theory. It doesn't mean much. It's too complex. There's some points there that are important. Theory is far too complex in a lot of ways. I get it. But this is exactly where like theory comes in, like contemporary theory, is that it can give language. It can give a lot of language to the things that are going on that you wouldn't have initially thought about. So understanding like a lot of new theory, like from Fisher, Zizek, you understand this, like there's this weird postmodern nihilism and tonality everywhere, guys. Like, for example, here's one of the most nihilistic things that I see on Twitter. And it's like, and not in a reactionary tonality whatsoever. These people can do this if they get, if you do dumb fuck slut shaming and stuff, like you're an idiot. But like, I see guys like these like a lot of the times people will, they're like, oh, have you read Marx? And they'll take pictures in lingerie. And that's a very common thing. It's like this really weird nihilism in a weird way. It's like, I don't know. It's like this aesthetic thing, right? It's this aesthetic approach to like Marxism and like leftism. And it doesn't feel very serious in a lot of ways. And again, these people can do these things and making any, any reactionary slut shaming sort of shit is just bullshit. You can fuck off with that. But it's just like, a lot of left Twitter accounts, they're just not, it's like they don't take this shit seriously. Like they care about it, but they just like, there's this weird postmodern like essence to everything that they do. That it's just like, it's like they're between the field of actually like taking shit seriously and not. Like, it's just sort of like, it sucks. It sucks, man. The left is playing a moral game because there is no real argument left. Is it nihilism, or is it just using an aesthetic for existential grounding? Yeah, and it could be that. I think that's a good point. Without there being any legitimate substance, for sure. Normalizing socialism with titties is bad. No, not necessarily. And I'd be lying. Listen. Listen. Everyone. Okay. I don't know where we're getting. No, but honestly though, it's weird for some people. Like their online presence, the totality of their online presence is sort of just like posting tits and shit. Like in some ways, not to say that they do not care about issues. It's just that again, there is this weird aesthetic nature to online politics. Very weird aesthetic nature to online politics that is sort of void of substance. And I think it's very common, right? Like, sure, titties are cool. We all love tits. But it sort of, I also do really care about the issues. And not to say that these people don't. Again, I'm not trying to make some like, damning dismissal of people who do this, because I understand there's like a dual nature to this. Some of them have OnlyFans, and I feel like I could get in really big trouble for saying this shit. I feel like I could really piss a lot of people off by saying this, and I want to be careful. But yeah, some of them, I mean, people, because of a pandemic and stuff, people are poor, man. They have OnlyFans and they're promoting it totally fine. I don't like this new postmodern nihilistic approach to a lot of things online. It kind of sucks. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want some fucking, I don't know. I feel like you can get in really big trouble for saying shit like this, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being insecure. It's a far cry from boomer unironic aesthetics. Yeah, a little bit. It is, isn't it? Fisher's Vampire Castle essay has never been more relevant. Yeah, in a lot of ways. Yeah. Communist posturing, that's sort of, yeah. It's like they use like sort of like, and also too, and that's on a whole other plane, this aesthetic posturing, but there's also like an actual tangible gatekeeping sort of posturing that happens too, where people are like, oh, leftists are just libs in disguise. Fuck off. Even if they were, guys, and they're getting like that. That's another thing that's actually above and beyond the biggest thing that pisses me off is that there's like, oh, leftists are just libs in disguise. These progressives are just libs. Okay, if they are liberals, if they are ideological liberals still, but they're starting to experiment with a more left-wing approach, progressive approach to politics, why are you alienating these people from any movement like that? Why are you doing that? And the only reason a lot of these people do that is because it makes them feel good. It makes them feel good. It makes them feel above them. It's this really weird online political high school bullying shit. And a lot of the accounts that I see doing this are like people who probably wouldn't have gotten along very well in high school. And it's like this weird, like reverse bullying situation. It's really fucked up. Everyone, I'm sure you guys all in chat have seen this on Twitter, but I like memification. It's useful. Yeah, ContraPoints is probably the best positive example. What about ContraPoints? I like ContraPoints. I really like ContraPoints, actually. Anyone that wants to left, just let it happen. Yeah. Online is so aesthetic that even it is scholastic, only poems and slogans, no argument, or yeah. But yeah, I think, and it sucks. It sucks. Is a radical act? I think so. Like, I truly think, and it's hard to understand, if you haven't contended with a lot of theory, like from Fisher or even Zizek, it's actually kind of hard to see a lot of like what you're doing in some ways. Like, and like a lot of the things, like a lot of people on the left will, they'll just say like the same shit over and over on Twitter, right? I'm like, what are you, like, why? They'll be like, it'll be this weird, like, they'll just say the same things over and over that their followers are saying, and that they're doing it to get retweets and likes, and it just doesn't feel authentic at all. You're not doing anything of substance. And I mean, and probably in some ways I could fucking fall under this too. It's a natural thing to do, but in some ways it just feels fake. Cortisol in politics, variance in voting behaviors predicted by baseline. Yeah, there's some research to be done there, maybe. Bring them some democracy. Barney, please do. I'm here to help. Everyone watch the memes as a minor literature video. Adorno said the same. Richard Rorty basically said that social media would kill leftist discourse. Oh, interesting. It will mostly be performative and nothing would happen in real life that would have any impact. Interesting. As an American, yes, please. Yeah, please help us.
Pretty quick.
Ooh, is there gunshots going on?
Well, the flash bombs are coming.
Oh, bombs.
Getting myself. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna pull myself out. I don't know if those are rubber bullets coming. Are those rubber bullets coming out?
Okay, have they vacated? Ooh, what's going on here? Oh, they ended the stream. Interesting.
Protest. The only time when media ever got fucking assaulted, the only time when mainstream media ever got fucking assaulted, I'm not talking about Andy
one person
at the Capitol that basically they will move forward if it, when we joked and
implemented a 6. Oh, guys, this will be really interesting at around 6 p.m.
This will move forward.
Really interesting.
We're supposed to be happening today.
Where people, wow, I just found a channel where people fighting. Please link it. Link it right now, Sigral.
Everyone is wanting the sense of
wait, no, I don't know if I want to see people dying or anything, but I do want to see. I don't want to see people dying.
That the electoral
but
process will continue. I've talked to a couple sources on the Hill in Senator's office. They're telling me the same thing, but they're being honest that
who legitimized conspiracy theories out of cowardice. Yeah, Victor's right. Guys, get Victor on the stream.
In terms of how that vote's
I don't know if you. Me and Victor Bruzzoni from the Pill Pod have talked about getting him on stream quite a bit.
Saying, okay, we're probably not going to be able to get back into the Capitol
tonight. Guys, this is going to be weird. Guys, this is going to be really weird. Tonight when there is a curfew, because protests get really weird when there's a curfew. During the protests this summer, it was like that as well. When curfew hit, or where I'm from in the Kansas City area, when curfew hit, shit got really weird. Dude, so much more rubber bullets and tear gas than what we're ever seeing this year. I mean, dude, there's just fucking police shooting everybody, dude. Who thinks the election was stolen and is sick of it? Yeah, dude. Well, no, you're not. Well, no, I don't think you should be. Listen, be selective of your friends, though, man. Don't listen. I'm not friends with Trump supporters. I'm not. I can't do it. I can't. I very much choose my friends based on their politics. Absolutely. 150%. I'm not going to put you in a fucking gulag. No one on the left's going to. That's hardly a fucking thing. No, but I don't choose my friends. No, I absolutely choose my friends and people I trust according to politics. 150%. I'm not friends with Trump supporters. I don't trust. No, absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely. You see that gulag down the street, that place that exists. Yeah, the internet is a tool, but that's about it. 3.4. You don't even have internet. That's it. Oh my God. I didn't even. Well, yeah. Wow.
The scenes of chaos at the Capitol do not reflect a true America.
Yes, it does. That's the horrible part.
Who we are.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
For a small number of extremists.
Yeah.
Dedicated to lawlessness.
I mean,
this is not dissent. It's disorder.
Well,
it's chaos. It borders on sedition. And it must end now.
The best thing he could say is like, guys, we are seeing something that the political failures of the past 20 years. But he can't. But guys, he can't say that. He was vice president for like 8 years. Yeah, he definitely can't say that. But yeah. Any more live streams?
Counting of the electoral votes, which was the final step.
We need more content like this online, something grounded in theory, philosophy, and history. Most left YouTube. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's definitely that's kind of definitely why partially I did start YouTube. And here's so like you find theory channels. There are some philosophy and theory channels, but they don't actually get into practical politics at all. And I deeply, guys, deeply, the entire project of this channel, this is it. This is literally it. I'm a political science major. I'm a history major. I got into theory and philosophy because it answers a lot of the questions and failures that political science cannot fucking answer. So with that, what I want to hopefully do is take the sort of bread tube audience, and I want to introduce them into tangible theory, right? Because you have a lot of all YouTube today is this sort of surface, like left-wing YouTube, and not that this is not valuable. Like there's wonderful channels like Thought Slime who will make videos about, and it's a very good introductory into a lot of the real practical politics. But behind that real practical politics, there is very real, legitimate, very valuable theory. And I want to be that bridge in a way, if I can. I want to get people who are already interested in leftist politics, who are already disenfranchised by the system, and grow their vocabulary and add context to these very issues through theory. Hey, Victor, dude, we were just talking about it. I was going to see if you want to hop on Discord and come on stream, absolutely feel free. I did not plan on streaming today. We've been talking about the past couple days. They're like, man, we've talked about getting Victor on stream, but we haven't been able to align dates. We're both busy people. I thought Slime was anarchist. Well, that's the thing. I don't even think Thought Slime. No, like if I can remember right, I love Thought Slime. Thought Slime is a fucking awesome channel, but I don't think he has any. I don't think there is any theoretical grounding in his thought. Really, like that's a lot of left wing practical politics. Here, I'm gonna go to face. Victor, you're in our Discord, right? You're in our Discord, correct? If so, I can drag you into a call. We can come hang out. I mean, okay. What do you think about Tim Pool? Tim Pool fucking sucks. Absolutely sucks. Thought Slime is about real actionable politics. Did I miss something when viewing his videos? No, absolutely. No, Thought Slime, a lot of left-wing channels are very good, but they don't get into a real theoretical lens. They don't kind of go a little bit deeper behind a lot of the, they don't, I think theory can really do that. I think theory can add context and a lot of language to things. Yeah, and a lot of like BreadTube channels and stuff don't do that, and understandably so, because surface practical politics is very accessible in a lot of ways, and theory can be a little bit hard to get into, but I want to hopefully maybe potentially be a bridge to that. Oh man, do I see Hegel in the back? So sorry for you. I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it. All right. Yeah, we got some haggle going on, and Tim Pool is far right for sure.
There's nothing saying they have to do this in the House and Senate chambers. They could decide, and we heard from Senator Duckworth earlier, that they might opt to hold this meeting in some other kind of a conference room. There are very large spaces in the Capitol Visitor Center where they could potentially do this, and there are other large committees.
Victor, if you can, if you're still in chat, join like a call, like in the general room. I'm trying to get Victor into Discord. Dude, I'm new to this. No problem, Victor. I'm messaging. I think Victor's gonna come on stream, guys. See if I could, or Victor, I could also call you on Discord. Let me do that. Actually, this might be easier. Oh, here we go. There you are. Okay, so there you go. Yeah. Here, I'm gonna drag you into game room, Victor.
Can you hear me now? Or?
Yeah. There you are. There we go. I'm gonna drag you into game room because I've had some times like on this Discord, people like I've had like 6 people hop into an unlocked call and stuff. But yeah, what's going on, man?
Okay, cool. Not much, man. I'm just watching all this unfold. It's pretty fucking crazy.
Dude, it's really fucked up. There's also in my state there's shit going on in our capital as well.
Oh really?
Yep, in Topeka, Kansas, the capital is. It's not like what we're seeing in Washington D.C., but there's quite a few people there. I think they're just sitting in.
Nice. Yeah, that's fucked, man. Are we on right now?
Yeah. You're on stream.
Okay, sweet. I wasn't sure. No, man, this is insane to watch. To some extent, I feel like there's something. Like I was talking to some of the guys from the Pill Pod earlier, and I think it's interesting because, an eruption like this happening, I feel like the one upside of it is that it kind of disrupts the fantasy in the Trump mind of what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of failed cause. So it's like they got into the Capitol, and it's like, oh, nothing happened. So it's kind of a splash of cold water. I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like also. I think that we talked about it earlier. Dude, people do not. I don't think people take this new right-wing populism very seriously either. Like, there's undeniably a populist wave going on all throughout the world, but I think that even I don't think people actually consider that this new right-wing phenomenon is actually pretty fucking crazy. I mean, this is the most unstable I think I've ever seen the government since we've ever seen the government since the Civil War, no doubt, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think we've.
I see somebody asking to turn up the volume. I don't know if that's possible.
Okay, yeah. Perhaps.
I don't know. Let me see. Do I need? Maybe it's something in Discord here.
So I have. Here we go.
This stuff, guys. I'm sorry.
There we go.
Okay, it's on your end.
Yep. Do you guys hear everything?
Yeah. Is it better now?
I think so. I turned you up pretty loud.
Okay. Good. Yeah. No, man. This is Yeah, I'm glad we're finally doing this, by the way. It seems like an apt day for that to be happening. I mean, it's a pretty exciting news day. I was trying to get some work done, and I think it's pretty fucking impossible to be doing any work with all this mayhem going on.
Dude, same. I was sitting here. I was actually scripting for our next video, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna stream because I need some people to watch this with. I was like,
yeah. What are you working on?
So our next video is going to be, Frederick Engel's Socialism, Utopian, and Scientific, which is a small little book that he wrote. Yeah, dude, honestly, Engels, I don't know. People get mad however you pronounce his name. Dude, literally one of the best, most clear writers of actual traditional, old Marxist theory, I think. Obviously, there's people like David Harvey that have, articulated, and, Richard Wolff that can make some Marxist thought easier to learn. But dude, I was actually really shocked how good this book was. A lot of people say that, along with the Communist Manifesto, what needs to be read is, socialism, utopian, and scientific. But dude, honestly, if you want to understand Marxism, this is the fucking book. He explains dialectics so well, and I really like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I know it. I'm actually like I know my Marx, but it's been a while since I really dug deep into it. Well, I guess the last time I really read was when you're doing a PhD, you have to do this like political theory core course, and where you read like the whole history. And we had like 2 weeks on Marx, but you know, I feel like I should probably know it better, especially if I'm going to take this lib stance. I feel like I should know my Marx better.
Yeah.
But back to what's happening today. I mean, like, what are your main thoughts about it right now? I don't know. I just got onto your stream, so I haven't really seen what you're talking about. But I don't know. Do you see this as like to some extent? I almost feel like it's good because it's exposing like the chaos, and we can see a lot of right wing people backpedaling. I don't know. It's kind of enjoyable to watch. Plus, with Ossoff winning, and Warnock, it feels like a pretty good day. I got to be honest. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, dude, yesterday was wonderful, honestly. But yeah, dude, I think there's just a lot of unknowns for me to make any clear, like dude, this is like shit like this has never happened. So there is a ton of unknowns. I think the one scary thing is, aside from like the potential, like the potential of what could happen, is that like, dude, like the police were very clearly okay with this. This wouldn't have happened if it wasn't okay. The first couple requests to bring in the National Guard was denied. I think they're now bringing them in, and partially they were denied. One, because I believe the Department of Defense denied it up front because they didn't want it to happen. And then two, people within the Department of Defense also were worried that Trump had control over the National Guard.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I heard it was actually Pence who ultimately authorized it, but that was just something I saw on Twitter.
Probably. Dude, I think so. You know how like there is such a huge spectacle of politics and you can never know whether what Trump is doing is real or if it's like performative. Dude, I actually am completely convinced now a lot of the shit you see with Trump is totally legitimate. Like the dude's insane.
Well, I think that his main incentive, I think, is narcissism.
Yeah.
So I don't think he has any plan for anything really. I think like the reason he was hesitant to condemn this is because he can see from his narcissistic mind that this is like all of this is because people love him so much.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's I think his main thing is just like I kind of want to keep this. I want to let this ride because I want these people to get like I want this expression of love for me, insane love. Like I don't know, like I don't think he actually had any plan for a coup. I don't really think he probably had anybody in the Defense Department who were buying it. It's just about feeling good about himself.
I think you're cutting out a little bit, but
oh, am I? Damn.
Yeah, just a little bit. No big deal though. No, yeah, dude, I don't know. I actually like. No, I'm actually kind of convinced at this point. No, he's totally cool with the coup happening. It's just that he probably doesn't have any like concrete, like real plan. What I am curious though to see is I'm not seeing what's going on inside the Capitol building if they're still in there. Because tonight's going to get weird. There's a curfew, and obviously the curfew will be defied. Yeah, all protests get weird after curfew.
Yeah, that's interesting. Here, I'm going to try to switch maybe too, because I have a mic actually. I recently, so maybe that'll help. I don't know. Am I cutting out now or?
No. I don't think so. But yeah, no. If you got a mic, go for it, man. Give us the sweet audio.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. How does it sound now? Better?
Oh, beautiful.
Way better. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Nice.
What microphone did you get?
Just picked up this mic finally. So.
Yeah. What microphone is it?
Oh crap! Actually, the audio from you is now all messed. Okay. Let me.
Oh.
See.
Okay. Epoch is such a, I'm reading from chat. Epoch is such a super geek. I love it. Dude, I am a geek. I'm a huge audio nerd. I don't know.
It's sounding like a chipmunk from you on my headphones, so I don't know if I'm doing something.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, give me a second here, guys.
No problem. No problem. But yeah, Phil, I'm definitely a huge nerd. I have, if you guys saw my audio setup, it's fucking ridiculous. I have a Yamaha mixer. I have a channel strip processor that allows me to do like analog effects. So a lot of audio processing today is all digital. And undeniably digital is like the way to go in a lot of ways, but I'm a little bit of a geek and I do like some analog processing. I also have a graphic EQ for my microphone. So the stock version of this microphone actually sounds quite a bit different. I EQ'd this I think it sounds better in the way that it does, but
okay, can you still hear me with like good sound?
Yep. Yeah. perfect, I think.
Okay, now I'm hearing you good. Okay, I just had to. I don't know. I'm using like AirPods for my headphones.
Oh,
So I
perfect.
feel like I just needed to like turn the Bluetooth off and on again. Hopefully it'll
Perfect.
stay.
Okay, guys, you hear
Oh,
Victor?
yeah, I can hear you all.
I think you're good to go. But
All right.
yeah, I don't know. This is really fucking weird, man. I think it's a little bit like calming down a little bit now. But dude, earlier I was actually a little bit kind of like freaked out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's funny. I was seeing some takes, and maybe we were even talking about it in the Pill Pod or the Plastic Pills Discord. I saw some people because some arguments about being a protester would say, if you're protesting and you're destroying like government-owned property, then that's morally justifiable versus, like destroying property that's just owned by some private citizen.
Sure.
So like by that logic, it's like obviously like you and I are going to disagree completely with these like crazy protesters.
Yeah.
To some extent, it's like if they're going to destroy like if they're going to like damage something, it's like the fact that it's the Capitol. Like
sure.
Maybe, if we want to be consistent with our left-wing values, it's like that's the place to attack.
Understand? Yeah, no, I actually I completely understand. That's a good point. I always kind of tell people too, and I know even some people, you even may disagree. I actually think, and I've always kind of joked around. I'm a little bit insecure about saying this on stream. I think if something really bad happens, I think what we saw during the protest of the summer where police are killing people, I think vandalizing is actually a good idea. I don't like violence. I don't think that should ever devolve into, it just doesn't really work very well either. I'm sure you know this, but a lot of political research to show that violent protests actually are a lot less effective than something, say, like marching or even just vandalizing.
Yeah.
But also too, if you're gonna vandalize, be smart about it. Like go tear up a Target, in my opinion. Like go absolutely go ham on a Target. They have all the money in the world, but if you can avoid it, don't touch small businesses. They're not and I've heard a lot of other people, Marxists, will say like, well, small businesses still exploit workers. Absolutely, some of the biggest exploiters are small businesses, but like if we can help it, like just go loot Amazon and go loot Target.
Yeah, I don't think it's not going to be a good way to win hearts and minds by just like wrecking some small business or I don't know, anything that impacts private citizens. I think is sometimes going to be a bad call, probably politically.
Yeah. I think I got a message on Discord. So I got a message.
But I know that research you were talking about, by the way.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Yeah, I forget what the book's called, but he goes through like a big historical survey and looks at all the different like situations where a regime was overthrown, and he found consistently that the most successful, in some ways, like from the position of holding power, of being like a regime ruler, the most dangerous thing is like nonviolent protests and civil disobedience.
Right.
That's like if you're a leader, that's like the scariest thing from your perspective, because there's very little you can do to respond to it. And it's whereas violence, it's like you can throw down the hammer and like it gives you justification to act.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's kind of I took a what was it? I took a terrorism political science course, and we went into a bunch of that research. Yeah,
Nice.
so
are you all done now, or
I am.
with school?
My political science degree is pretty much done. I'm finishing up my history one right now. This spring I'm done. I have to write like a fucking master's thesis for a fucking bachelor's degree in history.
Really? How long?
I think it's something like 40 to 50 pages. That might be shorter than like a master's thesis for sure, but it's just like,
No, that's pretty long.
Like for a bachelor's degree, I'm like, this is ridiculous, guys. Like, what the fuck? Like,
hopefully double spaced, right?
Yeah, definitely it's double spaced. Thank God.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous. It would be like, I guess a master's thesis would be like 50. Although I didn't actually write a master's thesis at my program. You could just you could write what's called a major research paper, which is like 30 pages.
Oh, that's sick. That's sick as fuck, because that
have the option where you can either do like more coursework and then do a major research paper, or you can do less coursework and do a thesis.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's a decent trade-off too for a thesis and less coursework.
I also, when I was doing, I was in philosophy, I wanted to do more coursework, right? Like I wanted to learn more. So it's like, I'd rather do more courses and then write a smaller paper.
Gotcha. So was your undergrad in philosophy?
It was in philosophy, almost a double major in political science as well, but just short of the requirement. So it was only a minor, but yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, if I could go back, I honestly, one field that I think is pretty underexplored and I think is becoming more relevant as time goes on is sociology, actually. I thought about if I could go back, I'm glad I did political science because I feel like I got a lot of a lot of context to how big of a failure that field is. In my opinion, I think political science sucks in too many ways. It could be a lot better, but I think sociology or philosophy is what I would have done. But I had too many credits, so I had too many credits already when I decided to get into theory, and then like same with history. And I went to go get a second degree. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna do history.
I mean, I got to say, as somebody who's pivoted a lot, you know, I don't know if I told you, but I also did a master's in urban planning because I thought, I don't know, did I ever tell you this? Maybe not. So because I wasn't really sure after I did my master's in philosophy, I was like, okay, what the hell am I going to do with this? Am I really going to do a PhD in philosophy? And then the philosophy job market just seemed grim, and I was always interested in urban issues. So I was like, okay, I'll just do this master's and become a planner. So I guess the point is I've pivoted a lot. I've been in different departments. Now I'm in a political science department. Obviously I didn't lose the bug to do like political philosophy or study philosophy.
Right.
But yeah, like, so one thing I was just going to say is I feel like doing philosophy was probably like, I'm so glad I did as my undergrad, because the skills it gives you to argue and like write properly, like write a proper argument, are things I notice a big difference with students who didn't study philosophy and then they try to write a philosophy or theory paper. I can tell the learning curve is much higher for them.
Yeah,
there's not as much like you know, a lot of students who go into an undergrad, I think mistakenly think they're like, oh, I'll take some philosophy course. I mean, I see this happen all the time, and they think it's like a bird course.
Yeah,
and they get fucking wrecked.
Oh, dude,
I mean,
no,
you're
that
gonna get
happens.
wrecked so hard in philosophy.
Dude, that's my exact experience. I actually don't know how. I went to a community college and took an intro into philosophy class. It was a wonderful class, very difficult, and it was mainly like we focus on analytical thought and like logical fallacies. And dude, I like came to the biggest epiphany that like what needs to be taught in like fucking middle school is like logical fallacies and like logical, coherent, critical thinking. That is exactly what should be implemented into our core curriculum. And because a lot of basic level intro philosophy is actually kind of really not that hard when you get some time between it and you learn more of it. But that's the scary part, is that we are so conditioned to think in the most illogical ways that stuff is really hard for people when they take a class over it. And so many people failed that intro course. I'm actually surprised I got a B. I ended up getting a B in it, but it was very hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I took my first like logic course, it was definitely a rude awakening. It's there's a lot of precision and standards that if you're not ready for, can definitely, it's very detail oriented.
100%.
That's the skill it gives you going into. And I just notice, I mean, I think political theory is, you know, similarly precise, but I do notice I feel like the further away I get from philosophy, and I was kind of thinking about this in response to what you said before about sociology. I think, you know, the further I get away from philosophy, the more I notice that the things that people are able to get away with as being like a good paper or good arguments surprise me, I guess, coming from in a philosophy background where the emphasis on precision and care is so strong.
Yeah, it 100% is. But and like I took oddly enough, so like I took a women's and gender studies class, and it was oddly one of the better classes that I ever took. But the professor, I think, did a lot of, I'm pretty sure like her master's was, I mean, her PhD was in like German or something, but her master's I think was in philosophy. And I think she was into a lot of, I think she studied a lot of like postmodern philosophy, like under Foucault or like with Foucault and stuff like that. Right. But she talked a lot about how, dude, STEM students fucking struggle hard, dude. And our university was trying to incorporate more of the humanities and into the core curriculum, but they do not like it at all. And that a lot of the papers that she would have to grade, when they did finally introduce like an ethics course for medical like students, med students, because we have a med school where I go to, right. And a lot of the students just they couldn't fucking do it. They couldn't handle it. And then by the end of the class, and they're like in a lot of ways their language and their views reflected that. So a lot of like my professor pretty much straight up, she's like, a lot of really fucking big idiots. And she joked around. She's like, we've always known that with STEM, right? Like a lot of people in STEM are really fucking stupid, and we're not going to beat around the bush with that. And so And she said she was like she saw a lot of like actual growth. Like there was a lot of really reactionary like shit in that class when they would take ethics courses and stuff. And she said afterwards they came out and it was like a lot better. And it was like their writing was more concrete too.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think the thing about STEM students too, to be a little bit more charitable to them is like, but I mean, I generally like agree when it comes to being intelligent about certain kinds of arguments or moral reasoning. I mean, one observation I've made, I used to TA for a class when I was in my master's. It was like healthcare ethics. And it would get a lot of nursing students who aren't exactly STEM, I suppose.
Yeah.
But the thing that my professor like warned me about, she's like, before you grade these papers, is the thing about people who are in STEM and at least in nursing is like they're just very like, okay, tell me the procedure about what I have to write and tell me the things I have to memorize and I'll do that. And I will like carry out that procedure. But then when they're asked to like consider the moral dilemmas of healthcare ethics, you know, they're so confused because, you know, they're like, I'm just used to being told what I have to memorize. And then they often have a really hard time being like, no, like you actually have to think for yourself and consider the moral pros and cons and come up with an argument that you decide on.
Yeah, 100%.
Really hard for them to do.
I think that form of academia doesn't. I mean, I think that's kind of, and in some ways that even bleeds that sort of like heavy lifting of like thought and care actually kind of does bleed into social sciences and humanities sometimes too, right? Where you don't have to think for yourself, but it is especially like prescient under STEM majors and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a common problem. My girlfriend's a biology major, and I think and she really likes anthropology. I think she's taken a couple anthropology classes now, but I think she says the huge difference between like anthropology students and biology students is pretty big. And I think something even for her that was kind of hard was initially learning to how to like write and think like in a way like on your own terms, do the lifting yourself. It's difficult, and it's the opposite for me. It's the opposite for me. I was you know, since I got I went to a community college for 2 years and I got my associates, and doing that though, they make you, it's actually, dude, it's actually way harder. You know, a lot of people scoff at like getting an associate's. My degree associates means nothing almost. It doesn't even count hardly, which really sucks. But anyways,
I think in Canada we have something that's it's just called like a college diploma. It's like,
yeah,
I think that's what like community college, is that what associate's degree is?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's pretty much that. And I got something called an associate's in arts. It's really just a transfer degree where you can transfer onto a 4-year. But doing that, it was actually harder than just going to a university. It's a lot harder. I did take like more rigorous math classes. I did take biology classes, and that shit is fucking hard to me. I could write a paper so much easier than that.
Sam, I mean, that's the thing. I think it kind of, it's a little bit dependent.
Yeah.
On, you know, what our natural or our, you know, predispositions are. You know, I think you and I probably just are predisposed to a certain kind of thinking, right? Like we like to consider the pros and cons and think about moral puzzles and, you know, think about like political questions. And I think, I mean, I certainly can speak for myself and what you just said. It's a lot harder for me to do that memorization work and, you know, or the mathematical work that doesn't do the kind of thinking we're talking about. So
yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
So I'm curious, what are you, so I know that you're probably going to double down on the YouTube channel, but is that like still thinking in terms of that, obviously, like, you know, when compared to potentially doing more school, but for now, just YouTube's going pretty well.
Yeah. So, I mean, YouTube's gone well. I've most of the time when I stream, I'll usually bring this up. I mean, it's something I think about a lot. Dude, so I'm done in the spring, and I'm hoping by that time, by the end of that spring semester, it will bide me enough time where maybe this channel would be big enough where it could be something that I could do full time. I'm a little bit worried about it, but that's what I want to do, man. You know, like my initial goal before like any YouTube video shit was actually to kind of get into academia to some degree, or just at least at the minimum go get my master's and then move on to whatever I want to do, because I actually I like academia. When I throw something like YouTube on top of it, I've grown to hate it more because my new academia is YouTube. It's a much more efficient way to learn, and reading something and applying it to a project on YouTube. It's so much, dude. I've learned so much more doing YouTube than I ever have like in the past couple of years at university. And so
for sure, it makes perfect sense. I mean, I always find when I've taught, like I've done tutorials myself. And what I think in effect, what you're doing by making these videos and coming up with a script is you have to figure out a way how to teach the content, right? Like when you're just learning it and you're reading and you're taking notes, that's nothing compared to actually having to put what you've learned into something that you're effectively teaching other people. So it makes total sense that you're learning way more by doing this.
150%. Yeah. And like that's the whole thing that I liked academia about is I like to learn. But as I've gotten closer to graduating, it's gotten increasingly more bureaucratic and like weird, like checklist shit that is just useless. And it's annoyed me. But the reason why I wanted to continue the education is one, I like learning. Two, if I could ever do something maybe in academia, it's kind of like you get to sort of be a forever student, but in some ways, but with YouTube, like that is like completely the case. At least with what I'm doing here, that's completely the case. I get to be a student the rest of my life, and I get to learn, and I get to apply that and make something cool. And so I think YouTube is some of the most unalienating work that I can do. I think for sure we can get there. It's just a matter of time, and I hope that by spring, by the time I'm done, I can double down and focus on it. That would be really, really sick. But I don't know. But I want to do YouTube full time.
There's a market for this too. I mean, like from your viewers right now, I mean, I'd be curious about how many of your viewers. I know that Plastic Pills, you know, he tells me a lot of the people who are onto his channel are people who maybe did a college degree but decided to make the practical choice and didn't take philosophy or theory, but then they still have that appetite, right? And I think like channels like yours and channels like Plastic Pills, I think are in some ways satiating that appetite. And I think there is a lot out there, just given you know, the success of both you and Pills' channels. So I think it's a pretty good thing to be involved in.
Yeah, 100%. I sometimes get doomer. I know for a fact. I think Pills. I remember talking to him once, and I think he was like, "Man, I feel like I kind of peaked." I'm like, "Okay, one thing, Pills, you have not peaked. You have like 25K subs now, and that is fucking sick." But you can kind of get into that sort of mode of thinking a little bit, because like really like this kind of stuff is a little niche. I think it's growing though, which is really good. On the upside, on the opposite end, it is growing. I think there's more people getting interested in this shit than there ever has been on like a YouTube front, which is really sick. But nonetheless, it still is a little niche, and I do sometimes I'll feel a little insecurity. I'm like, oh fuck, you know, there's only so many people. Yeah.
It's unavoidable insecurity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unavoidable. You know, if you were in grad school, you'd be feeling you know, they call it imposter syndrome. Everyone in grad school talks about that, you know, especially when you get to a PhD. Do I belong here? So, you know, I don't think it doesn't matter what you're going to be doing. You're going to a little bit of healthy insecurity is probably a good thing.
100%.
But no, I think you're doing a good job. And like the thing that makes both you and Pills different, I think, in this moment is that the previous YouTube like philosophy and theory YouTube channels, you know, there's obviously some really good ones, but I think there's like I feel like I sometimes think of you and Pills and stuff as this new wave of channels that are actually focusing on production quality more, maybe.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So I think that's maybe, but you know, I will say, like, just to speaking of the, you know, the value of grad school, I will say that there is something really special, and I really felt like I found my people, you know, being in the seminar room with other like-minded people, and we're all sharing in the experience of trying to learn this text. And, you know, you only really get that to the full extent when you're in grad school, in like the, you know, with only other graduate students in the seminar room and everyone's serious. Like, I gotta say, that's a nice experience. Yeah, you can get something similar to that. Like you're obviously meeting a lot of people by doing this, but you know, there is that is definitely worthwhile. If you can, of course, you're not always going to find that in every university you go to either. So
sure.
I don't want to say that would necessarily happen if you went to any grad school. Maybe I just got lucky. So with having good experiences myself.
Definitely. I sorry, 1 second. I just got a message from Shutter.
Yeah, go ahead. No worries.
He says that it's still a little bit quiet here. On my end, it's not. So,
and it seems like people are hearing us in the chat at least. So
okay, yeah. So chat, I'll check up with you guys. Hear everything? All right.
I mean, just based on their comments of like picking up on what I've been saying and you've been saying.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. But yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, I've thought about also Nigel, production quality is what hooked me. Strong brand. Thank you, Nigel. I appreciate that. But I think I've always kind of thought about that. I found something like even so obviously I'm getting close to being done. And this past spring semester when COVID hit, it actually kind of made me really sad a little bit because I do recognize something a little bit sacred in education in that regard, where it's like you do meet some really cool people. You're doing some like truly like education in a lot of ways is kind of, not to get a little cringe or corny, it is kind of special in a lot of ways, you know, like you're doing something that's really important and stuff. And I remember feeling a little sad. I'm like, one thing, this is one of my last semesters. Well, I was actually supposed to graduate this semester until because I thought I was going to go straight into grad school, but grad programs are falling apart here and they're having trouble. And so I just went to get a second bachelor's. But so it's a little sad. I'm like, God, I only have one more semester left. And, you know, it's there is something really cool about that. And I hear a lot of people like education doesn't really start until you go to grad school. And I can probably see that actually.
Yeah. I mean, to some extent, it only doesn't begin. Well, at least in some ways, I think what grad school can be is if you have that hunger and that appetite when you're in your undergrad, but then you're around a lot of people who don't really care, who are indifferent, and like, but you're also really excited about it. And then when you get to grad school, it's like you're around other people who are just as excited as you, and that's like a special transition when you're like, oh wow, like I'm not the only one in this room, right? Because I'm sure, I mean, I don't know how big your classrooms are, but I remember being like this, having this experience of being in these classrooms, and I was like, shit, I'm like the only one here who actually gives a shit about this or is excited about it, you know?
That's especially true. And that's especially true in undergrad class, some undergrad classes too. I took a political philosophy class this semester. And again, I don't take very many philosophy classes. And it was really good because you know, like I'm a really big critical theory fan, and which is much more contemporary versus, you know, the political philosophy we learned was we learned a lot about, like, you know, we read Machiavelli. We went from Machiavelli to like Hobbes to fucking Rousseau and shit. It was really, really cool. And I definitely felt like in that room of people, besides a couple people, I was the only one that actually gave a fuck.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, you know, right now, like I feel really bad for, you know, the incoming class of PhD students at my university and every university this year, because it's just such a bummer.
Yeah.
Because you're, you know, especially those in most PhDs, you just do like the first year or two of coursework. So it's like if you're coming into your PhD and it's COVID, like you're missing out on, you know, that great experience. So it's a huge bummer. I feel really bad for incoming grad students.
Yeah.
Who have to do that online. It's like I would just personally, if I was in that position, I would have just deferred and been like, I'll wait till this shit's over.
It's yeah, dude. Dude, and there's like a double whammy too, where in the States, a lot of like jobs that necessitate a degree or anything aren't there, or a lot of like better paying jobs are starting to kind of fall apart. You can still get a job at a grocery store. You can go still get a job at a lot of places that, you know, wouldn't require it, but they don't pay you shit. And so people are in a really fucked position. So especially college grads right now, where they're either one, grad programs are falling apart as we speak, and COVID is making that even worse. And then two, going to the job market looking for a job that they actually deserve to be paid, you know, with like they can't do it. And so we're in a fucked situation. And I'm sure it's different between you know, I'm sure Canada is probably a bit better, but the United States is really.
Yeah, I mean, the very obvious thing that makes Canada better is just the price of going to school. Like, you know, students here, you know, at the University of Toronto, right? Like, you know, one of the top schools like the top school in Canada and one of the top in North America or whatever. They say it's you know, if you're an undergrad, you're Canadian, it's going to cost you, I think, like maybe $8,000 a year.
Oh
Canadian.
Shit. Well, I mean, that's
which is not nothing, but it's definitely cheaper than a lot of
higher level school. Yeah, dude, if you go to an Ivy League school here, you're fucked. Like you're totally fucked. Completely. I mean, it's way more than that.
A non-state school, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, you know, it's going to be, I mean, I have a lot of American, I mean, my one friend I met at a conference, he did his undergrad at a place called Reed College in Oregon. And I think when he left, he had $200,000 of debt.
Dude, that's bad. That's really, and that was an undergrad, right?
That was an undergrad. It's because it's like a fancy liberal arts college in Oregon, you know, private.
Yeah,
it's like $50,000 a year or something crazy. Like something like that just doesn't exist in Canada. But also like our universities are, like, it's very different. All of our universities are public here. Like, you know, none of them. There's like a couple weird like fringe like religious private ones, but like all the big name schools in Canada are public. So like the fee is standardized. If you're a Quebec citizen, you know, in Quebec, you pay even less. You pay like $1,000 a year or something like that. Or
oh my God,
yeah,
$1,000 a year would be, oh my God. I mean, even $8,000
go,
really modest for a high level school.
To go to like McGill University, which is like a pretty good school. If you're a Quebec resident, you pay like $1,500 or something.
Oh my, and McGill's a really good school, right?
Yeah, it is. It's a good school for sure.
Fuck. Yeah, it's
so, yeah. What's the fee like in, because you're going to state school, right, in Missouri or Kansas, if I'm not mistaken?
So I go to school in Missouri. It's actually not too bad. I have a very truly, I am going the non-pretentious academic approach. A lot of people actually scoff at city schools in the US. Some people do, but I'm going to UMKC. It's like, man, what is it? It's about $6,000 to $7,000 a year. I'm really lucky that I have a transfer scholarship. I have full Pell Grant. I pay probably only. I have a way better situation than most people. So I have full Pell Grant. I have a transfer scholarship that pays a good amount. So I pay probably about $2,000 a semester out of my own pocket, which is still a lot.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
No, it's not bad.
That's for the US. That's like you're in a pretty good position, I think.
Right. And I live in and so on campus housing's more expensive than how I live here, but I still undeniably do like even so I had a lot of my experiences with work here has been fucking horrible. What happens I notice in a lot of part-time work is if you're an okay employee, they tack on responsibilities, and then they start scheduling you more. And it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you do. It'll always get more and more and more, and to the point where you can't even focus on your main life. That work becomes the most important thing. So I realized, I'm like, fuck, I need to be really careful. I'm going to graduate from college, because undeniably, this is a really big problem for a lot of people my age, is that's what happens. Their job ends up taking over. They drop out of school. And I knew, I was like, I can't allow that to happen. So I got to research.
Where were you working?
Oh, fuck. So I started college, this was a long time ago. I worked at a Guitar Center. And that was impossible. And then that was when I realized, I'm like, dude, I can't, like, I had jobs before that in high school that did the exact same thing. So I realized once I hit college, I took it extremely seriously. And I've had summer jobs in between there, but I got when I went to UMKC, I moved out of my parents' house, and I got a research job for the political science department. It was perfect because academics was first, and I got to work there. But I still, despite living is so expensive here, that despite having cheaper housing, despite not paying that much out of my pocket for tuition compared to most people, dude, I'm still dude, I still have I'm scratching $50,000 student loan debts in 5 years. Wow. about to graduate. So yeah, and that's not bad compared to some people, but it's just like living is so fucking expensive. Even with a job, dude, I can hardly afford to live in so many ways. Like it's bad.
Even in your city too, isn't
yeah.
like rent pretty cheap?
Yes,
comparatively. Like I mean, it's definitely going to be cheaper than here in Toronto.
100%. Yeah. And that's another thing too. Kansas City is a really good city. There's a reason why they call it, I'm going to give a little shout out to my city. There's a reason why they call it Paris of the Midwest. It's actually a really good place to live. It's really cool. It's cheap to live here as well. But that's also the terrifying part, is I don't live in a cheap part of the country. And not only that, I don't live in an expensive part of the city either. It just fucking, everything is fuck here. And
do you mind if I ask? You don't have to tell me how much rent you're paying, but I'm curious. What's a range for a 2-bedroom or a 1-bedroom apartment?
Not a problem. I actually pay. I think our total rent. I live with my brother and my girlfriend. It's about $1,100 to $1,200 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. That's kind of cheap here. That's pretty cheap here, and I'm sure around the
$1,100 for 2 bedrooms.
Yes,
that's not bad at all.
That's very cheap.
I live in a basement 1-bedroom, but it's nice. And in Toronto on the subway line, and it's $12.50.
Oh,
Canadian though. Canadian.
Yeah.
So that's like 900 American or something like that.
Right. Yeah, so that would actually, if you're inner city, you have a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, 900 is not bad, even in KC. But yeah, here it's housing's starting to explode though too. I mean, everywhere all over this country, housing's getting expensive. I think we're getting to the point now we've hit a peak limit of housing costs in places like Denver, Houston, and LA and New York. And what's happening is these smaller cities like where I'm living they're getting expensive now. So that's happening everywhere. I know Boise, Idaho's blowing up. Kansas City has seen a pretty big increase in population. Thus, housing costs have gone up immensely. Housing costs are just out of control here. Bad.
Yeah. I mean, I think that seems to be the trend in a lot of places, but yeah, it's crazy. So you just to switch topics though, you were saying earlier that there was like stuff going on at your Capitol building too? And
yeah, it's far less severe than I think what we're seeing here. And at Capitol Hill. But with our Capitol, I think we're just having like conservatives sit in. Like we're having pretty heavy right wingers sit in, and actually, I think they're probably actually doing protests. They're not rioting or anything. I think they're just speaking inside the Capitol. Which honestly, dude, like I'll be real, like fine, go for it. What's going on right now is really not good in the Capitol building. But like you guys are, conservatives in that regard are absolute fucking morons. But nonetheless, all the power to them for going to the Capitol and just doing that. I'm fine with that. I'm cool. Do it all day long. I don't care.
I mean, I think, yeah, early, at the beginning, I was kind of saying that there's something like to some extent, if we want to be consistent with our left-wing values of, protesting against government property, but then at the same time, like rhetorically, or like ideologically, or I don't know, like messaging wise, I do think that this is like pretty good for the left. I mean, the fact that this is happening. I don't know how much you've been watching Twitter, but I'm seeing a lot of right-wingers, kind of backtrack a little bit.
Yes.
Being like, oh God. And like, I'm seeing like Laura Ingraham be like, people need to go home now. Like all these people have been stoking the fires. It's pretty hilarious to watch.
It is.
Be like, whoa, I don't know about this, guys. Like,
you know what I've noticed? And chat, I think you might have noticed this too. Dude, what I have noticed, have you noticed I have not heard this lately amid the pandemic. I have yet in a very long time to hear the quintessential conservative argument of, oh, so you just want to give everyone money, socialism, this and this and that. I haven't heard that. They're like, conservatives are now kind of like okay with the idea of socialism, receiving money, and they're kind of okay. Like you don't hear them talk about handouts like they used to. Like nowadays, like conservatives are like, they're like, yeah, I'll take $2,000. So for example, I grew up in a very rural area. A couple of my Facebook friends that that absolutely fucking hate my guts, but they will. I've seen them. I made a post. I had like 2 or 3 very wildly conservative people who are major Trumpers talking about Mitch McConnell not handing out the $2,000. They were fucking pissed. And I'm like, I told them, I was like, good for you guys. Like, I'm like, and they were like, man, people are suffering and shit like that. I'm like, I can't believe I'm hearing this from you. I can't, like, absolutely. They are suffering and we should get $2,000 out to everyone. And I told them, I was like, obviously, like, I'm with you with this. Like, let's try to think about this in the context of like healthcare too. People deserve healthcare. It's cheaper. It's more efficient. Housing as well. And they were like, yeah, I agree. I'm like, dude, we've been saying this the entire time. I'm so happy you do agree. I really am. But like, oh my God, like, yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny. That's kind of the ironic thing, and it really puts the American right in a really tough situation, because it does seem like, the Overton window for things like the $2,000. It's like Trump kind of opened it, like that the populist right who wants those things, and I feel like I'm seeing these, more traditional Republicans. They have no idea what to do, like how to respond to it. They're kind of saying like, yeah, the 2000, but then like we know that they probably don't really want the Republican Party to move in this kind of, economically left-wing populist direction when a lot of Trump supporters do. It's funny to watch how contorted the rhetoric on the right is right now. It's very amusing.
And and in that way, it's good to contrast with the left and the center, where the Overton window in the Democratic Party is moving left quicker than probably what even leftists want to admit, honestly. But on the right, there is like a really confused state. You know what I mean? Like, because right now you have people like, I think the new future for the Republican Party is people like Josh Hawley, and this is actually kind of scary, and people like Matt Gaetz. I think they're going to become increasingly authoritarian, but they will offer people like economic relief. Okay, here's my hot take. I think Josh Hawley and I think people like Matt Gaetz might champion things like universal or a public option for healthcare. I'm kind of convinced that they might do that, or no, they will do this. I think they will support a UBI in a capitalist world. I think a UBI. I think Matt Gaetz and Josh Hawley, these younger Republicans, I think things like UBI will be on their main platform very soon. I really do.
Yeah. Also, how like I was also wondering, how bad politically will it look if the Republicans try to filibuster, a public option? Because I feel like now the Overton window shifted that maybe they won't vote for it, but I feel like if they decide to filibuster it, like, I don't know, that's going to not look very good to some of their, like, working class white voters that they're blocking healthcare.
Yeah, it's like, dude, we're seeing this really weird populist like reversal on the right, where like economically we're becoming more populist, although they're getting far more extreme on like on topics of democracy and authoritarianism and shit. Cultural issues, it's becoming fucking terrible. But it's like we live in truly a very, very postmodern, confused world, and I think we got to be careful. Like I really like right now, the cards are in Joe Biden's hands in so many ways. Like especially like after we've won the Senate now. Granted, Manchin in fucking West Virginia can determine all kinds of shit now, but nonetheless, this is exactly what centrists were talking about. So let's see if Joe Biden can do his fucking magic, his arguably bullshit bipartisan thing, and let's see if he can actually make other people come to the table and he can pass a public option, right? Centrists were saying this is what he could do all along, but now they're complaining. Now a lot of people are like, well, we still have Manchin and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, but this was the voting. This was apparently what you guys wanted Biden in for. I'm really worried. Biden, what he talked about today, we were earlier on stream, we were watching his speech. It was terrible, dude. It was like,
yeah, I know. I saw it.
Yeah, it was utterly just like, this is just chaos. This isn't America. The best thing he could have ever fucking said is like, okay, we have a fucking, he didn't take it seriously. He's like, all right, we have a fucking issue. It is very clear that there are some issues going on that is causing this. No, if I was Joe Biden, I would ironically, I would be like, okay, these people are clearly fucking angry. All right. And there's a pandemic going on. There's all of this shit going on. We have someone like Donald Trump who is just being a complete autocratic fucking or a wannabe autocratic person. Yeah, but he can't say that because he has been the authority in the past 8 years as vice president. And it's just like, I truly think, like, I'm not saying I'm glad Biden's in office, right, over Trump 100%, but I cannot think of a fucking worse candidate right now with what we are dealing with than someone like Biden versus someone like Sanders, dude. It's insane.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely would have preferred Sanders. I mean, I guess I don't know. There's so many considerations, like just the reality, the electoral reality. Like, I don't know. I don't know if Sanders would have won the same votes that Biden won. Like, I don't know. When you look at the way the vote turned out, it does seem like those suburban votes were, I mean, I hate to think this way, but like a part of me, sometimes I feel conflicted about, like there's obviously the more passionate side of me that is like, we got to just stand up for what we believe in. And then there's like the realist side, which is like, let's look at what are the numbers show us? What are the demographics show us about what's electable? And I don't know. I mean, there is some evidence to think that Biden, like maybe would have won and had a better chance of winning than Sanders.
Yeah. So no, that's true. I think states, I actually think Bernie, I agree. You should look at this a little bit more. This is my inner political science nerd probably coming out. And I was curious about this as well. Analytically speaking, no, there are probably some things that Bernie wouldn't have done as well on, but I think it's actually that difference is really small in those areas. But the grounds that Bernie could have made versus Biden were actually a lot larger. So, for example, Bernie would have won Texas. I'm 100% sure. Like, dude, and if Bernie won Texas, I mean, it's done. I mean, like the elections. I mean, you win Texas, and I think, I mean, California, Texas, New York, and then if you can take over a couple of, like, I mean, that's a big deal.
And maybe it's tough. It's tough to say. I mean, I guess also the rhetoric right now, though, with these two runoffs, though, would have probably been really different. Like, I think, they would have said, look, Bernie's the president now. Look, he's literally going to bring socialism. Like, you have to stop. And then all those kind of moderate suburban voters who were comfortable voting for two senators who are actually pretty progressive, both of them, especially Warnock, I think.
Yeah, man, I actually don't think that works today in the same way because they did that anyways with Biden. I truly think, I think conservatives are losing their firepower on the socialist approach. I really do. I hope so. And I think Bernie would have done way better. I mean, Biden did terrible with Latin Americans. Like, that's actually a huge problem, and they need to address that immediately because, I mean, we'll lose if we don't get those votes back. It was really, really bad. The only reason we won is we had unprecedented like voter turnout, and then on top of it, there was a pandemic and fucking a new civil rights movement. So I think that we actually have a lot of issues under Biden that I think that Bernie, there wouldn't be as many issues, even though, because we look at the United States through kind of a historical lens. And in many ways, like 10 years ago, Bernie would have gotten trounced in some ways. But I think we are living in such a different environment that I think someone like Sanders actually really would have performed quite a bit better than Biden. I think there's there's some points to be made that maybe in some Rust Belt areas of Pennsylvania, in some more white places, suburban areas. Yeah, sure. I think that's probably totally correct. But I think Bernie would have probably made up with that and more in states like Texas. And I think Bernie could have possibly won Florida, although Florida, as a Latin American base, they're much more conservative.
Well, especially the Cubans.
Exactly.
Like, you know, the rhetoric of the fact that Bernie, you know, they've been, I think, to some like surprising degree of success, taking back the term socialism, democratic socialism. It's not quite as much of a dirty word as it used to be, which is a good thing. So I'm glad Bernie did that. But still, you know, from a Cuban perspective, I think probably, I don't think Bernie would have had a chance in Florida, but whatever. Biden lost Florida anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. And dude, they were saying he was going to win Florida. I knew he was going to fucking lose it. I knew he was going to lose, dude. And polling, and also too, we're on the topic of this polling data. We are at a fucking crisis with polling institutions right now. We really are. So for example, Nate Silver in 2020, he said, if Biden only wins by so-and-so amount, this would be like a polling error of like monumental proportions, and it surpassed that. So like, and so polling errors are growing and growing and growing. And I mean, obviously that did kind of happen in 2016, although the polls were more accurate in 2016, in my opinion. Trump was getting closer and closer and closer to Hillary. But now there was still polling errors. So like we're in like a really fucking weird spot.
It's strange though, because it seems like the polling errors are like inconsistent, like depending on what the state was. Because for some states, the polls were right. Like Georgia and Arizona were both ones that were surprisingly like right on the money. And even this Senate election too, like the polling, like the final average on 538 is pretty much what it's going to end up being.
Yep, 100%. That's what I mean. Like, and a lot of people, you'll hear people who say polling doesn't matter. No, polling absolutely does. And most polling, even with polling errors, is done really scientific. Like it's actually like pretty accurate. That's why it's like so confusing to see what's going on. And I think it kind of shows perhaps some like hidden underbelly of like maybe some dishonesty with who they actually support, or like, I don't know. I have no idea, but it is weird because polling is usually, historically speaking, pretty accurate. And a lot of people on the left are wrong to say that polling actually, we shouldn't pay attention to it, because actually we should. But nonetheless, we did have some really weird things happen in this last election. It was not good. we got
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think polling is based on a lot of assumptions that I think definitely Trump like overturned some certain assumptions, but.
Yeah, 100%. Shit, I just realized, Victor, it is like 5:15. I was actually going to get out of here around 5 o'clock. I had no idea. Okay, yeah, dude, I appreciate you coming on. It was a lot of fun. Guys in chat, like, this has been a good stream, granted under horrible, like I did not expect a stream today. I didn't know this was going to happen today. I figured there'd be protests. I wouldn't have expected the police to kind of allow them to come in, and then some woman getting shot in the neck and fucking bleeding out to death.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been a fucking crazy day. Yeah, we'll have to do it again sometime. I'm just gonna see if we should respond to some stuff and people were saying in chat, because I feel like we weren't really paying attention to it. But
100%, 150%. Let's definitely set that up. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm definitely gonna head on out of Discord, and then let's definitely set something up again though.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So I will see you,
All
dude.
Right, so what do I?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, man. I guess I just like leave the Discord chat.
Yeah. So there's like a little. You see the
fucking noob over here.
That's all right. You see the disconnect button.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. There you go. All right, man. Take it easy.
All right. See you later, everybody.
All right, guys. I appreciate all you guys hanging out. I actually haven't eaten anything today, guys. I've drank a cup of coffee. I typically do the little intermittent fasting thing. I don't necessarily do it on purpose, but I have like a habit of like not eating at all until like really late in the day. So I was going to tell you guys, I give the same spiel every time. You know, I definitely couldn't do any of this without Patreon supporters, guys, YouTube members as well. So if any of you guys are curious about getting, early access to our videos, getting exclusive videos, I actually did just an exclusive video recently, voting on future videos. Hey, feel free to check out the Patreon or YouTube membership section and, you know, maybe help out for a couple dollars a month or so. Definitely keeps all of this alive. If not, if you don't have money to spare, which a lot of people don't, alongside other just spending itself, if you guys do use Amazon, feel free to bookmark our link down below and just use that whenever you make purchases on Amazon. That actually helps quite a bit. So yeah, feel free to do that. If you guys don't already support other supporters through an affiliate link or whatever, but I appreciate all you guys. I'm sorry, while we were talking to Victor, it's kind of hard to interact with chat. Typically, listen, I actually do a pretty good job of interacting with chat, but you guys are at a perfect point where like there's enough people in here, yet there's not too many where I can actually really go through and answer questions. I enjoy it. It's really fun. So yeah, feel free. Do those things. I think we're gonna get Victor on again, but I will catch you guys later. I gotta get something to eat bad. I haven't eaten all day. So all right, take it easy, guys. Appreciate you.